Oh, fun. Are we live? Can people hear me? Yeah, this is a fun camera angle, I think. Is that the mic? Whoa. Is this the mic? Oh yeah, it is the mic. It's in frame. Oh shoot. Let me erase it real quick. One sec, team. I like always run a little bit too late to be as nitpicky as I am, which is not a good thing. Oh shoot, I should open this up on my tablet because my laptop is a bit far away, or I can move it closer. Whoa! Yes, Calico, you are here. Hello, the Europeans. This is a very European-friendly stream, and of course, welcome to my kitchen table, I suppose, where today we are going to be enjoying some coffee. I literally got these like two days ago. From a local roaster, actually, that I just found. And it's quite nice. How's the music volume, by the way? Too high, too low? It looks a little bit hot compared to usual. Yeet, yeet. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to open my tablet real quick. One sec, team. I'm gonna hide the password as one ought, just so that if I'm ever in your vicinity, you cannot log into my thing, I suppose. And we will. Hello, Kitsune. I suppose we'll start the Q&A soon once I start getting things like really set up. Again, I'm always a little bit too late to be as nitpicky as I am, but I'm gonna be as nitpicky as I am. Because this is my stream, and I'm not a morning person. We already got a question, but I'm gonna answer that later if you want to ask it again. Drinking tea. Hello, that's nice. Good volume. Is that an aqua figure? It is an aqua figure. I wanted to get some more from my room to put them out here, but like, you know, it is what it is. Aqua to purify the coffee. Yeah. I suppose that's how it be, but aqua and holo. Anyways, let me pull up y'all on the tablet, just so that this is fun for us all. All right, and then we will begin. Dude, it's summer here, right? Whoa. Anyways, so it's summer here, and I am toasting right now underneath the lights and my hot bagels right here. So yeah, for everyone who's disappointed that I said donuts in the last Q&A, I'm eating bagels today, so hopefully that makes up for it. And I will be drinking hot coffee. There's a recipe for some sweating. I'm gonna be so sweaty, so just like how I sweat YouTube. Anyways, merch link doesn't work? What the heck? Ugh. Allow me to fix that. Perhaps try the one in the chat. Mods, get on that. The few of you who have access to the entire thing. But anyways, oh, we have memberships now. If you want emotes, join YouTube memberships. It's just $2, but you know, I don't know why you would do that. Anyways, let me go grab my scales, and then we'll start some Q&A. Here it is. So today I'm going to be Aeropressing, right? It'll be fun. Oh, I need to get my paper filter. Gosh, I've never set up like right here to do something before. here it is. Paper filter, and we will get to grinding. Anyways, allow me to measure out my coffee first, and then I will start some Q&A. But I guess for all the snobs out there, I should I say snob in the nicest way possible because I'm doing exactly that. Why is this still wet? I need to get a paper towel. One sec. This is gonna be a fun experience. But for all my snobs out there, fellow snobs who care about coffee the way that I do, or at least more than I do, because I don't care too much. I just like having a good cup. At least that's what they all say, right? We are doing, let's see, Aeropress. This is, I think, a medium light roast. Yeah, it is a medium light roast. Sourced from Peru, I suppose. I don't know, but you know, it's nice. And oh wow, it's kind of wet. Doing like I'm thinking 16 grams with a medium grind on a medium-ish grind. Although I'm still not too comfortable with like grind sizes and stuff like that, and using, you know, this. So we'll see what happens. But 16-ish grams, 16 to 17-ish grams, and then we're gonna grind medium fine to like kind of fine. And water's gonna be like 93 degrees centigrade. And yeah, we'll see. Oh, this is 16 grams for 250 mils, 260 mils, I suppose. But anyways, I should get a spoon for this so I'm not pouring it everywhere. Alright, and we will get to grinding shortly. Yo, grinding ASMR. Is that what it is? But anyways, allow me to read chat real quick. We'll get to a win-to-win question later. If you're still here. Hello, Kai. What's up? Yeah. Somebody wants to, again, assist with the merch link. That would be dope, since I am a little bit preoccupied. But okay, here we go. Dropping beans. So yes, this is a jeweler scale. It was like, you know, 10 bucks. But apparently being precise when making coffee is a thing. So we're going to, this measures to the 10th of a gram. And then the second scale is because the scale doesn't go up high enough to keep measuring beyond like 100 grams. Which is, you know, like the mass of a cup. Alright, we're at 10 grams now. Whoa. Not getting that much. We're at 12 grams. Dropping beans. Dropping beans. Somebody knows a better way to do this. Please hit me up. Wow, 30 people watching me make coffee? What the heck? Why? I should just be doing this. This is like the obviously prime content. Watching anime pianists make coffee. Whoa, 17.2? That's fine. We like that. I like my coffee on the slightly stronger side. Hello, Joel. Here we go. Whoop. Turned that off. We don't need this anymore. And we'll get to some questions, if there are questions. I know I said it's Q&A, but like, you know, Q&A always depends on how active the chat is, and if the chat isn't active, then there's no Q&A to speak of. So, yeah. Let's see. Yo, wow, we got a lot of stuff, and for whatever reason, this chat isn't updating. Oh, now it's updating. Dang, Adam's here too. Yo, what's up, Adam? Sorry, I missed you for a sec. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's start working our way through chat, checking the grind size. grind size could be finer. One sec. It's because I adjusted this last night because I was making my faux cold brew because I'm gonna drink that later. So I'm anticipating this stream going long enough that I need 2 cups of coffee. And I don't think I want to drink 2 hot cups of coffee, which is why we're gonna get faux cold brew later. And because this is slightly wet, this is kind of annoying. All right. Anyways, does this sound nice to y'all? This is what we like to hear. ASMR. The squeaks. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'll grind down here. I am wearing a pretty cool shirt. Thank you. Last episode of ReZero Season 2 is your favorite episode until now. I think the last episode is ReZero. For a moment, I was like Fate Zero Season 2, even though I just read it. I think the last episode of ReZero Season 2 was really rewarding. But I think my issue with ReZero Season 2, the second half, is not that it wasn't good. I actually liked it a lot. I think it's, you know, one of my favorite shows to watch, and the character development and the writing is really good. It's just that everything works out a little bit too well, too quickly. Given especially the first half of Season 2. And so, because of that, then the last episode of Season 2 felt like, I wouldn't say redundant, in terms of like how it felt, but like, it lost a little bit of impact for me because everything again just worked out a little bit too well. So, but that's not necessarily an issue with the writing, that's just more of my preference than anything. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to answer the Winter Wind question that I promised I would answer. Let's see. Shiraji Nikuro, I have a question. I'm playing Chopin's Winter Wind and can't do the arpeggios. That's coming back. Do I have any tips? Practice with rhythms. Honestly, like, if you can't do something technical, hopefully the grinding is not too loud. If you can't do the rhythm for something, or if you can't do like the technicality for something, I think it's just a matter of slow practice and like smart practice, right? So you gotta, you know, do your rhythms, you gotta do your accented practicing, and if it's like really bad, take it in small chunks, right? String things together slowly. Remember that going fast is the culmination of your muscle memory from going slow being put into action, because, you know, when you're going fast, you can't really think about things, and if you can't do it slowly, right? So the adage that if you can do it slowly, you can do it quickly or fastly, as we like to say in my server, is not necessarily true. But if you can't do it slowly, then you cannot do it quickly, right? That part is true. So yeah, take it slow, take it smart, and don't overexert yourself. Let's see. The tablet, yes, Corkio. I am like all over chat because I am a little bit behind. Why? Am I supposed to be a monitor? Yeah, I'll fix that later. Sorry, Venetia. Well, dude, I make coffee with milk or water. I prefer my coffee. What? Wait, who brews coffee with milk? I thought people add dairy to take out the bitterness of the coffee. But if you brew it correctly, there's not that much bitterness to speak of. So, or if you do a lighter roast too, there's less bitterness. But personally, I'm not too. I don't hate the bitterness. I actually enjoy a little bit of bitterness in my coffee, which is why I enjoy, I suppose, the hopsiness of beer. So I don't have a problem with bitterness, except when it's like really bad or like really acidic. Then I'll have to add like some sugar or milk to tone that down. So like any of those, like, you know, pre-ground like Maxwell's coffee type of stuff, like I need to add a little bit of dairy to smooth it out. So let's see. Coffee, yes. This is a medium light roast, Adam. When will I be able to play Unravel by Animens? I think that's an interesting question. Am I able to play it? Yes. I hope that wow, I finished. I hope that the sum of my videos and my playing proves that to you. But when will I want to play it? That's a different question, and currently I don't want to. Yes. Let's see. ASMR intensifies, yes sir. He can't take the bitters. Honestly, okay. Here's the problem. So I think with whatchamacallit, American coffee, right? American coffee. Oh yeah, that's true, John. I do have the best cover of Unravel currently on YouTube. So I mean, really, your question is ill-placed because I already have a cover. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Gosh, I like totally missed the question or whatever that was going on. Wow, 40 viewers? 40 people want to watch me make and drink coffee. When usually when I'm playing or like, you know, doing piano stuff, there's like only 15 of you. The people have spoken. Every stream now, coffee stream. Oh man. But as I was saying, I think at least in the States, right? Most people don't go to like coffee shops or like, you know, stuff like that to get their coffee. They go to like very mainstream places like McDonald's or like on the East Coast we have Wawa. Wawa's great. You know, or like, you know, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or whatever. And the way that they brew their coffee, you know, most of them, I think all of them do drip, right? Because that's like cheap and economical. But it's always like bitter because it's like poorly brewed. My recommendation is, if you don't like the bitterness in coffee, one, get yourself a lighter roast. But two, get yourself something like an Aeropress or like a French press or like Chemex or something, or like a V60, and give that a shot, right? They're like, you know, this Aeropresses are like $30, yeah, but when they're on sale, they're like 15 to 20 USD. You could probably get V60s or like V60 knockoffs for like cheaper, right? And filter papers aren't that expensive either. And just give it a shot, right? And see how it tastes. Or go to like a hipster coffee shop. They call them hipster, you know, in the States. But like, you know, go to one of those coffee shops and see how it tastes. See if the pour over makes a difference, right? Which I believe it does. And see if it's smoother and takes out some of the bitterness and pungency of the coffee. Especially when you get fresh beans too. Anyways, that's my rant on coffee because I'm a snob. Anime barista, yes. Can I make some black coffee? I am making black coffee. What is my favorite coffee brand? I don't have a favorite brand. I just buy beans. Strip coffee stream. You know, fortunately we are... Ooh, I almost said we are not pan piano, but yes. You're learning really fast. That's nice. You want to try Revolutionary Etude? Good for you. ASMR channel when? I don't know, whenever you make your gameplay ASMR channel, Kitsune, that's the real thing. You gotta lock up for music history. Can I help you answer it? Probably not. My music history game is kind of weak. Like, I only know very key figures, like starting from like Hildegard during the Dark Ages. So, am I going to play piano today? No, I'm not. That's for Saturday, in a few days. Currently, I'm like kind of busting it, right, practicing, because like, you know, a lot of the stuff a lot of pieces that I'm playing, I picked up again like this week on Monday, because I was away on a trip starting last Wednesday, so I missed like 5 days of practice, and then we had 10K. So I am learning like an hour's worth of music that's pretty technically intensive. Like I looked at my program last night, and I'm like, man, this is kind of tough. I don't know why I did this to myself, but you know, hopefully my hands don't fall apart by Saturday. Every day I've been, you know, this has been a bit tight. Yeah. So it's like usually I can do like, you know, lots and lots of practice. Like now that it's summer vacation or summer break for me, I can do like, you know, 3-4 hours. You know, which is nice when I have time and I'm not doing like video stuff. But like when it's like reading and like slow work, right? Then it's, you know, very comfortable. But when it's like everything is fast and I'm trying to regain the tempo for like literally everything that I'm playing, man, my hands are tired. That's all I gotta say. Do I enjoy romance comedy anime? Before I answer that question, I'm going to pop my water into the microwave because we're brewing at 93 degrees Celsius. One sec, team. And I've also got myself my cream cheese now so that I can actually enjoy my bagels. So, what was that question? Do I enjoy romance and comedy anime? Yeah, I mean, considering how Your Lie in April is low-key a romance anime, I would say so. I enjoyed Snafu a lot. Like, my teen romantic comedy is wrong, as I anticipated. What else have I seen? Teasing Master Takagi-san is more slice of life than, like, explicit romance, but that was really fun, too. And, oh my gosh, what have I even seen? I feel like for these streams, I need to, like, pull up my, like, Annie list just to, like, make sure, that, like, when questions come up, I can, like, reference things because my brain is frozen. But anyways, I will continue until I pull that out. Phrasing and articulation for ASMR. Yes, very true. Why don't classical musicians improvise, like, generally speaking? That's a good question. And I'm not gonna pretend like I have the best answer for that. So, historically speaking, classical musicians have always had to improvise, right? There's, like, in concertos and, like, some, whatchamacallit? In concertos and, like, some other, like, smaller works, there's, like, cadential, like, or not cadential, cadenza, or, like, cadenza, like, segments where the composer has written a spot for you, the performer, to improvise over the theme or, like, whatever he's written. And in fact, probably most, like, classical pieces were written as, you know, originally an improvisation on the piano. Somebody was Beethoven or whatever was like noodling on the piano, and then like for like either the figure bass or like something, or like the progression and the melodic lines, and then sat down and like, you know, worked it out. I suppose that's how you get like most of Liszt's stuff, since he was a great at improvisation, or like Schubert's, right, impromptus, right, is literally in the name. He improvised it and probably refined it, no doubt, right? But it started off as an improvisation. So I think it's an interesting question, or interesting thing to consider. Why do classical musicians not improvise that much today? And I think I'm not exactly sure, right? My history knowledge on this matter is like quite. I don't know when it stopped happening, but at least I suppose for me. And my experience and my understanding is that most people are taught out of the score, right? As you're taught from the score, and as the score and your understanding of the score is like hammered into you over and over again. Sometimes teachers or like other players don't leave room or don't make time to explain how to, you know, play by ear or whatever, right? That's not to say that classical musicians don't get ear training, right? For a lot of competitions and a lot of aspiring young pianists and stuff like that, they take music theory and they take that very seriously, right? When you go to conservatory, you're taking music theory, and with music theory, with classical music theory, you're either doing you're doing solfeggio or solfege, right? Which is you know, dictation, so you write down what you hear, and you know, singing as well. So you like the fixed do system, like do re mi fa sol la ti do. I start on a G, do do. So fixed do starts on a middle C. With do, or you do moving do, right, depending on what school you go to, and that trains your relative pitch, right, absolute and relative pitch. So it's not that classical musicians don't have the ear, or they shouldn't have the ear, right, it's just that they don't practice, right, especially nowadays when a lot of these cadenzas, right, are written, right. So composers a lot of times, like in Beethoven's third concerto, piano concerto, the cadenza is written by, there's a cadenza written by Beethoven that you can play, and so a lot of people just opt to play that, right. A lot of people opt to write their cadenzas beforehand if they want to, or they play a famous one that's already in existence. Microwave is beeping, and I will finish my point and get my water. But I wager that's probably why, right? There's a lot of, you know, when there's a score available to you, it's much more comfortable to analyze the score than to have to learn how to, you know, play like improv over a theme, because that takes a lot of effort, and if you haven't been training that for a long time, then your improvisational skills are going to lag way behind like where your playing actually is, and that's quite frustrating to play at. So I suppose that's my hand-wavy response without knowing more music history. Let me fetch my water so I can continue brewing. Well, it wasn't hot enough, so we're going back to brewing, or microwaving it is. Okay, I've also seen Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai to that romance comedy question. I enjoyed that a lot. Let's see. Snafu, yeah. Kaguya-sama was really good. I enjoyed that a lot too. Yeah, and I'll just, quick scroll. Yeah, I haven't seen too many, evidently, because I suppose this is harder. Oh, Watakoi. How could I forgot? Watakoi, love is hard for otaku. Anyways, that's enough on that question. Allow me to continue. Oh, Waki's mug. Link in the description if that works. If not, mods, throw that in. Let's see. Is it right to learn pieces with two hands separately? Yes, you can do that. In fact, with playing Bach, you're memorizing separately as well, right? So, you might as well. But I think what's nice about learning pieces with two hands together is that it gives you a better feel for how the piece goes, and like it helps you understand the work of music like quicker overall. Real quick, mods, if you wouldn't mind just throwing the questions into the Discord in our channel, just so that I don't have to keep scrolling through chat every single time. That would be really dope. But yeah, learning with two hands separate, I don't think is a problem. If you're playing everything two hands separate, then perhaps, right? Especially when you can't put them together, like afterwards, then perhaps try something easier. But like, take your time, take things slow. I don't think it's a problem to learn things with two hands separate, as long as you're able to at some point put them together. And as you progress, you practice more and more playing them two hands together. Like when I get to really difficult sections when I'm reading too, I'll take the hands separate just so that I get a feel for where things are. But yeah, all right. Let me pull up my Discord. All right, Pog. Dope. I see you appreciate that Google Doc. Anyways, here we go. Do I enjoy playing tougher or simpler pieces? That's an interesting question. I feel like all these questions are pretty good. And I hope I'm not just answering the same question or questions from the same people over and over again, that there's some pretty good audience participation. I'm gonna go fetch my water and a thermometer real quick. Alright, so this thermometer is like kind of meh, because it beeps, and it's like annoying, because it's like calibrated for like beef. Whoa, sneeze. But let's see how hot this is. Oh, there's the beep. Whoa, 88? Okay, we're gonna have to stick it back in, because again, we're looking for 93 degrees. Heat into water, of course, increases the reaction rate, right, at which the coffee brews, and it helps extract more flavor compounds and like, create chemical reactions that I don't know anything about. If it's too hot, then that happens too quickly, you over extract. Right, it doesn't burn your coffee because, you roast coffee at like hundreds or like over 100 degrees Celsius. And so water that's coming in at a piddly 100 degrees C is not going to torch your coffee anymore and create more burnt flavors. It'll just over extract, at least from my understanding. If you want to know more about coffee, you should check out James Hoffman's channel. He's a guy who owns his own cafes and does a lot of really great coffee content, and I highly recommend. So that's where I learn most of my stuff, and then that's where I learn most of my stuff, and that's and then I also watch some of the world-winning like Aeropress recipes for kicks. All right, hopefully we've hit it now. But do I like learning tougher or simpler pieces? I think it really just depends on what I want to play, right? Like, if it's hard, then that's nice. But I also don't mind playing something easier or simpler, because simple stuff can be beautiful too, right? Like, why do only difficult things get the spotlight in that sense, right? When you can very well play something easy, beautifully. Yeah, you can always add more layers to interpretation and stuff like that. So I like it. Yes. All right, here we go. It's time to begin a brewing. So we are brewing for, I suppose, several seconds. I'm gonna stick my cream cheese back in the fridge so it doesn't go bad. Oh, hello, Isaiah. Thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Do I know any free resources for learning music theory? So Theoria.com is pretty good. But honestly, I think so I've used Theoria a little bit. They have some like ear training stuff, which is nice. And so that helps with a lot of, you know, general music stuff. But you know, I think getting a good textbook, which I unfortunately don't know too much about right now. I suppose you could even contact like faculty at like, you know, Curtis or like Juilliard to see what textbooks they're using. That was actually a recommendation that was given to me by somebody who got their master's at Curtis. She was like, you know, or go contact Curtis and see what they're using right now, and then use that. And so perhaps that's an option as well. And this is what happens when this is slightly wet. We lose some grounds, but that's okay. We went over 17 grams, so I'm not too concerned about losing all too much. So anyways, let me get back to Q&A. But honestly, thank you for the super chat, Isaiah, as usual. Real homie. Yes, how can I turn back time to slap myself in the face for stopping to play piano after 10 years of practice when you were 13? I think the important thing to remember is that it's never too late to start again. And if your goal is to become a world-class concert pianist, I mean, there are some people who still make it when they're older, right? Who started later or like stopped for a while. I mean, freaking Martha Argerich, like, you know, like stopped for a few years because of depression, right? In her 20s, and look at her now, right? Like in her 80s and still playing like whole concertos and stuff like that. Wow, I need to wash my hands after this and wipe down my table. But, you know, set your goals right. And that's why I made the Who's a Musician video, because I want you to have the proper goal when you're playing piano. Am I, Caleb Watt, going to be the greatest pianist ever? No, I'm not. Why am I doing this? I always do inverted. And for a moment there, I did not do inverted. And now things are going to get messy because I start off mindlessly. One sec. All right, here we go. Ugh, my bad, team. I'm a little bit scatterbrained because I'm streaming. But we're going to put 200 grams of water into this right now. Swirl, and then give it a minute, 10 seconds, and then we're going to swirl one more time, and then invert, dump it into this cup. And then we are going to add 50 grams of water to get us up to our 250. So allow me to begin. Boom, 200 grams. It's time to stir with the paddle. Stir with the paddle attachment. Yeet. Stir for like 5 seconds. Hello, Houston. It's been a hot sec. Yeah, Martha is a freaking beast. Martha Argerich, honestly, like, listen to her play. Sometimes some of her stuff feels a little bit aggressive, but that's like she does it so well, right? And that's the beautiful thing. What a virtuoso. Sorry for not paying more attention to chat, guys, but it's going a little bit quick for me. Also because I'm trying to do this coffee thing. So let's see how many people are watching now. And did I answer that last question sufficiently? 44 people. Wow, y'all really like this coffee thing. Do I speak Japanese? Nope. I am slowly learning it. But you know, not at the moment. I'm only still on chapter 1 of Genki, and I haven't had like any time to work on that since like I did that a few months ago. So anyways, we will now begin depressing into our cup. I did not preheat the cup because it's really hot here. And so I don't want my coffee to be smoking hot, right? So this should take like 15 seconds. Ooh, the grind is a bit fine, so it's taking a little bit longer. Yes, after 4 years of piano, what piece should we be able to play? What level of difficulty? That's a tough question to answer. Everyone learns at a different rate. Some people pick up some technical things faster than others. And honestly, I don't remember what I was playing at 4 years. 4 years in. Of course, what a child is playing at 4 years in is different from what an adult is playing at 4 years in, right? Because of the difference in physicality and the difference in the rate of learning. But honestly, I'm not going to answer that question very concretely because I don't want to give a litmus test for anyone, right? Because if I say something like, you know, for example, right, it took me like 6 years, 8 years, 7 years of playing before I think my teacher thought that I was at a level where I could play Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C sharp minor, or sorry, C minor, you know, from the well-tempered clavier. But, you know, it's technically not the most technically intensive piece ever. But it requires a certain level of maturity and a certain development of the ear to be able to, you know, parse out, to learn how to analyze a fugue, right? It takes lots of thinking to be able to play through that. And I'm adding 50 grams of water, so it's hard to say, right? Like, what should I be playing, or should be able to play, because, you know, it's really variable. And like, are you talking about musically or like interpretation-wise or like technically? And so, yeah, find yourself a teacher who works well with you. That's the TLDR. Get yourself a Watt keys, because I teach as well. Shameless plug. All right, continuing on. In my opinion, what's the hardest Chopin etude? Opus 25, number 6, double thirds. Chopin etudes are an interesting thing to talk about. First off, I don't think I can give a very good answer on this one because I haven't played all of them, right? I've played like 3, and I've looked at like a handful of others. So total brew time was around 3 minutes, or it was less than 3 minutes. Oh, I wasn't looking. Oh, okay. So it was around 2 minutes because of the depressing and then, you know, everything else. And I'll rinse out my Aeropress later. But it's difficult, right? Because yeah, one, not having worked through all of them, but two, they all work different things, right? Some people have a bigger issue with endurance, so they'll find, what is it? I forget all the opus numbers. I remember the, you know, the names, the monikers better, but like, you know, torrent or like winter wind or like, you know, ocean etude, like harder because you don't have the physicality to get through it, right? Other people find like the small things harder, like the double thirds, right, or the sixes, or like, you know, stuff like that. And like, you know, for me, thirds are kind of tough, right? And so it depends. It really depends. And other people, interpretation is hard too, right? So the cello etude or, you know, other slower ones might be difficult. So anyways, can you choose some pieces that more people should listen to? Animan's Unravel? No, I'm kidding. Let's see, what do I listen to? Oh, this is a little bit strong, but that's okay. I enjoy my coffee strong, but this is very nice. It's a little bit like, it's more acidic than I'm used to because I typically get dark roast. And so I'm trying like this light roast thing. But it's quite nice. I quite enjoy it. It's not as smooth as the pour over that they served me because I went to, you know, they also have a cafe, and so I ordered this coffee before I bought it, right? Which is a nice thing about like local roasters and cafes and stuff. You can try the drinks before you, or try the beans before you buy, right? I do think that honestly the problem with this is that it's slightly too strong though. So keep that in mind next time. But yeah, pieces that more people should listen to, I'm not sure. I think there's lots of really good ones out there, and personally, unfortunately, wow, it's just me exposed. I don't listen to too much classical, right? And I never have in my entire life, simply because I've played lots and lots of classical. So for a person who's never played, who doesn't play music, right? You sit down and you listen to like an hour, 2 hours of, you know, music, you know, when you're doing work or whatever. But so the thing for me is that when I sit down and listen to classical pieces, I like to sit down and listen to classical pieces, right? I don't analyze the way that I do for like all my videos or like even on stream, but like I like to sit down, watch the player, or if it's a YouTube video, or like really focus on what I'm doing. So classical music is really hard for me to listen to in the background, and on top of that, I play hours of it every day, right? And so I end up not listening to as much as I want to. That's the TLDR, or the long skinny of it, or long short. So unfortunately, I cannot answer that question very well. Hey, I've been playing for about a year and a half without a teacher. I'm currently 22, and I feel like I've hit a plateau. It might be too general, but what steps should I take to start improving again? I'm gonna take a bite of my bagel. ASMR. Oh, here we go. All right, this has been sitting out for too long, so it's no longer crispy. Well, I should quick skim my chat again, because I'm just reading a doc right now, so I don't see any anybody, but all my friends are here. It's like, wow, what the? Oh, Adam asked a question about the original cadenza. Yeah, this is from several minutes ago, like 15 minutes ago. So apologies for not answering sooner. Yeah. Okay, so the thing with Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 is that Litz does not include a cadenza, right? So lots of pianists skip that, or they play one of the ones that are written before. Katine Special, right? He writes his own. So. Whoa, my stream. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I will. Oh, hello, Fuji. What kind of bean we got today, Isaiah? We got some Arabica coffee. Where is it from? Cajamarca, I suppose. Sorry, Spanish pronunciation is really bad. Or I think in Mexico and Latin America, the Y's are pronounced with as J's, but it's a J anyways. So it's Cajamarca. So from Peru, I suppose. Yes. Anyways, I will now continue reading the questions that my friends, my mods, are putting out for me. All right. Sorry. Let me answer the plateau question first. I think what you want to do, and I think I've said this on stream before too, is start experimenting with a wider variety of genres, right? You find a piece that's like slightly, like, okay. So if you don't have a teacher, right, it's kind of hard to say like what piece, where you're at, right? And like, you know, what you need to work on. But take a piece that is kind of, okay, two things you can improve on. Sorry, let me gather my thoughts. Two things you can improve on: musicality, right? Understanding, interpretation, stuff like that, and also technicality, right? So if you want to do either of those, for musicality, expand the range of like things that you're working on, right? If you never played Baroque music before, give Baroque music a shot. If you never play anime stuff before, give anime a shot, right? And listen to good recordings of them if they're like classical, or listen to original recordings of them if they're anime, right? And see and work on them, right? And see how you can integrate like the different types of musicality into your playing, and that'll help you with other things moving on into future. You want to improve technically, pick a piece that looks kind of difficult, right? And see where you're at, right? And give it a shot. If it's too hard as in like it hurts your hands, you don't have the physicality to do it yet, or you don't know how to do it yet, then pick something easier, right? And you rinse and repeat and do that. So it's kind of tough if you don't have a teacher walking you through like a lot of technical things, but like, you know, it is what it is. It's the hardest piece I've learned. Hungarian Rhapsody number 2, I think it, like, let's see, why? I feel like it's hard to say, actually. But Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 was tough because it's very physically demanding. It's musically demanding in the Lasan, right? You need to play like a very like sort of like not brusque, but like very expansive sort of like passante-ish, like da-da-dum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, and it has to be like phrased well. And you get to like some very light stuff in the Frisca, right? And then towards the end, it's like big chords and like lots of like small work. So I couldn't play it like in tempo. For those of you who've heard it before, it was like decent, right? But like, you know, really even playing it slower than like in total tempo. This was like my senior year of high school. You know, it was very physically demanding, and my arms felt like they were gonna die, especially at the end of a recital. That was the last piece of my senior recital. And after playing Mendelssohn Variation Series and a whole Beethoven sonata, I was not having it. Let's see, what kinds of pieces should I learn to increase my technical skill? Or should I learn pieces from multiple genres? Yes. So, I think the answer to this question, wow, 51 viewers still. Hello, people. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I suppose this has turned into a mukbang, so this is fun for me. More fun for me, I guess. I'm getting to talk with my mouth full. Let's see. What kinds of pieces should I or to increase my technical skill. And learn pieces from multiple genres. Yes, learn pieces from multiple genres, as I just explained, right? So that you get a wider sense of like interpretation and stuff like that. If you want to improve your technical skill, first and foremost, I think it depends on what level you are at, right? But what you can never go wrong with, and this is probably going to be somewhat slightly controversial answer because you don't think technicality when I say this, but I think you should work on a lot of Bach. Simply put, Bach will teach, like, some of the stuff can go pretty fast, right? Some of the preludes and fugues, so specifically prelude and fugues, some of the preludes can go pretty fast, can go pretty quickly, and so it will train a lot of this like finger sort of movement, right? That you will need for a lot of other things in the future, but also train your ear and your ability to voice, right? And with that, you're going to be literally using that in like everything else that you do. If you're at a level, of course, attempt the Chopin etudes, of course, attempt like the Liszt etudes or whatever, right? But honestly, you know, just play some Beethoven sonatas, right? Just play Beethoven sonatas. Work on pieces that are like enjoyable from like the classical romantic era, like early romantic era, and then go and work on the much more difficult things in the romantic era. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how hard it is to play a good clean Mozart, right? How hard it is to play a good clean Beethoven, right? Even some of his easier ones like the Opus 2 number 1. Right, it's just we take those things for granted because we see like Chopin, but like when you take out all the pedal that you use to hide everything, and you take out and you add in like the layer of delicacy that's needed for like half of this playing, then you'll realize how technically intensive it is. So give those things a shot. Mods, I just answered the hardest piece that I've learned. Which was Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. What do I do in my free time other than playing piano and YouTube? I would say that's what I do for my job. And so in my free time I go to school. No, I'm kidding. I play video games. I play video games or watch anime, duh. Although I suppose I could say anime nowadays is for research. But, have I tried pour over coffee, aka V60? So I don't have a pour over myself. So when I get pour over, I go out to coffee shops or whatever. And so I have tried it and enjoy it a lot. I like how it's like kind of pretty smooth. But I honestly I don't drink enough coffee. I haven't done enough like A/B testing with different like, you know, trying brewing at different temperatures or trying like different types of brews or like different grind sizes to like really notice the difference, right? I just know that this tastes good. I'm gonna keep drinking it, right? So, yeah, I'm not that much of a snob yet. I haven't done my, you know, like cupping sessions. It's like, you know, sip. Excuse me, sipping from a spoon. Like, anyways, if you know, you know. Oh, I already answered a bean question. You're 15, RCM grade 8. I don't know what RCM is. Sorry. I understand it's a piano grading scale, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with the system myself, so. Can I become professional if I try hard enough? That's an interesting question. Am I a professional? I am not, right? In the strictest sense, I'm not a touring concert pianist. I don't make a living off of that. I'm not in conservatory either, although arguable. I probably could attempt it when I was in high school. But honestly, I think in today's day and age, the definition of professional or what it means to get there as a musician has changed, right? Before, so first and foremost, if we talk about like pop, you know, like more modern contemporary music, at least in the West, right? I don't know how it works in the East because things are slightly different there, like culturally even. But in the West, in order to get big, you had to be signed by a label, right? And your song had to be good enough that it gained traction, or else the label would drop you, right? Because it was a big thing to be able to print CDs, make cassettes, right, or make vinyls at all, right? And then like the label had to dump tons and tons of money into you. You needed the money to go into you before you could make it big, right? At all. You do this full time. Like you can do local stuff, but like local stuff is depending on how much you're able to do and how many gigs you get, and like how much session work you do sometimes too, right? It's kind of tough to make it full time, depending on what you do, right? So that's how it was several years ago. But now with streaming and the advent of the internet, how you make it as a full-time musician is slightly different. You don't have to be signed by a label anymore, right? In fact, a lot of people would say don't get signed by a label. It's kind of stupid, right? Because they're doing things for you that you could do for yourself, which I don't necessarily like agree or disagree with, right? Because there are merits to signing with a label, especially a small indie label. Excuse me, especially a small indie label, and there are merits to doing everything yourself and hiring your own managers and stuff like that, right? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you can do it yourself as a modern contemporary artist, right, on the internet, and by doing shows and stuff like that. And you can look at any number of examples of people who are like, you know, producing albums in their bedrooms. Sure, a lot of them start off in a nice position, right? But also a lot of them don't, right? A lot of them, you know, have to make it big on their own. So all that being said is that I've said this before on stream, and I said this before, I think only on stream, yeah, but definitely in my Discord. I think it's a matter of time before classical music and these things catch up, right? It's only like with people like Tiffany Poon, you could even say with people like me, right, starting to gain traction. It's only a matter of time before internet-supported classical musicians are going to be a thing. And why is this important, right? Why is having a following so important on YouTube, on Instagram, on stuff like that? Is because people like you, right, show up on my streams, and this is what we would call engagement. And if I have a high engagement rate, I can say to a venue, right, oh, in this city, so, you know, some analytics sites, especially Spotify, will tell you like what country or like what cities or areas that like your most of your listens come from. And so you can show up to a place if you have very devoted fans from there. You could say, oh, I have an expected draw of like, you know, 100 people, 500 people, 1,000 people, right? And this is information that venue owners want. And you can even take that to record labels, right? I have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I have like 10,000 people on my YouTube who listen to what I have to say and like stuff like that. And all that, those things gain you traction, and all those things help you advertise yourself as a musician, right? And you know, of course, with crowdfunding and stuff like that, with like YouTube memberships and like Patreon, you should sub to that if you're not, and if you can. But all these things help artists sustain a career outside of just performing, right? So TLDR, am I good enough? You are if you keep working at it, and if you're smart about it too, right? It's hard to make it big as like somebody from winning competitions anymore, simply because the talent pool is so wide, right? And a lot of these are invitationals anyways, and a lot of the judging, like some of the judging is very subjective, right? Like pull no punches about it, right? Like some of the judging at competitions is very subjective, and even if you are supposed to win, then sometimes you don't. Supposed to win is also a very subjective thing to say. So anyways, I think I've answered your question sufficiently. Next, can an adult play good piano without taking any lessons from professionals? I think the strictest answer is yes, but like the more realistic answer. So again, I didn't start learning when I was an adult, but most of my students are like, you know, high school, young adult. So I think yes. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yes, you can, but it's gonna be tough, right? I think it's tough for all levels, right? Because it's a matter of habit formation and like muscular development to a sense, right? Developing like those neurological links to be able to do things that you want to be able to do. But as an adult, compared to a child, you have much more like bad habits from other things that you've been doing, like the way that you type, the way that you hold your mouse, the way that you know, maybe I don't know. People who play sports, right? You probably have some habits from that as well, and you're taking all that into playing. It's kind of hard to be able to parse through everything that's correct, right, without a teacher. And so I think you can get good if you're really, really careful about it and you watch my videos. But like, shameless plug, when to come out more. But again, my recommendation to everyone is if you can afford it, and even if you don't want to take lessons perpetually, take lessons when you first start off, right? So, like, don't spend your $200 on Simply Piano. Spend your $200 on piano lessons that you nowadays, right? You can even bring a recorder into the lesson, and teachers allow that, right? Bring a recorder in, take notes, right? Get like video, right, of the lesson or something like that, and like go and review that a whole bunch and use that to learn technique and like good posture. Build a good foundation before you move on to other harder things. Anyways, what does my donation goal mean? So a few weeks ago, I had my doppelganger stream for me. For a few moments, and a lot of people wanted it back. So if you want to see the doppelganger stream again, then you should donate to the channel. But also, I think actually today I was watching Beyond the Keys because somebody put his channel into my server. I think it was Yay. And he did an Unravel tier list. So I suppose at $200, I will do a live Unravel tier list as well. So Beyond the Keys, if you're watching this, thanks for ideas, bro. Hopefully I'm not copping too hard. But content's interesting and I appreciate it. Anyways, moving on. Is it true that classical pianists have a longer left hand? I think both hands are about the same for me. I think my left is slightly bigger. I don't know. That seems like a very interesting question, and I would need a scientific study on that before that question is answered. What I'd like to know, since I chose to study physics at uni and you chose that path too, what's your opinion on this choice? Any advice is welcome. Okay. I think my advice first and foremost is figure out what you want to go into with physics. As a freshman, you're going to be taking lots of intro physics courses, right? Even if you haven't taken AP, try to take something harder, right? Like, so my university offered excuse me, I'm chewing while I speak. How disgusting of me. Yeah, my Unravel is a SS tier. Beyond the Keys, if you're watching this, why didn't you put my Unravel video into your video? Come on, man. I tried so hard. No, I'm kidding. But you're going to be taking intro mechanics. You're going to be taking intro E&M. If you've done that before, try something harder, right? So we had an honors level course. I took those because I did that in high school. And so instead of just covering the same things again, right, like that you get in mechanics, which is like, mechanics with like some basic calculus, you get something that's more advanced, like seeing how, like, having a system of pulleys, right, calculating that using derivatives and stuff like that. And like really having to pay attention to where you set your axes and stuff like that. And then you might even get to special relativity, which is very interesting as well. So try to learn those, get those harder courses as well. But also I would say take some programming classes, and then your freshman summer, figure out as soon as possible if you enjoy doing research at all, right? If you're considering academia at all, you need to figure out whether or not the research process is something that you want to go into. And whether or not that's something that's suitable for your lifestyle. Because after my freshman summer, and for people who are doing physics or like any sort of STEM as well, who are in academia, in my chat, I'm looking at you, John. You can feel free to chime in on this as well. But like, it's kind of a black box to people if you've never done it before, right? It's just kind of like results come out, and so. I had a strong idea that I wanted to do academia in particle physics right before college, and then I did that for one summer, and I realized that lifestyle probably wasn't the greatest for me. Like I don't think that I would have enjoyed it and been able to do it long run. I certainly could not see myself doing 6 additional years of school to then go into a lifelong career of doing that. So that's when I scrapped the idea, right? But that's something that you have to try out before you can figure out whether or not that's, something that you're interested in. Some people are really into certain fields, and like the research process, it's not the same for every field, but get a feel for what's going on, right? And I say programming classes because basically everything is done with programming, right? Even if you learn a little bit of Python, like learn a decent amount of Python if you're going to learn Python, or like Java, or like C++ or C# or whatever, right? C++ is pretty important, so give that a shot. But that's what I would say. And then consider the fact that physics is employable in a lot of industries, and that there's a shortage of physics teachers in high schools. So that's also a safety net. If you, or not a safety net, but a career option if you enjoy teaching. So who's Watts waifu? Hello and Rem. How old am I? I'm in my 20s. Do you think anyone can play by ear? And if yes, how many years does it take to do that? I think that's a tough question to answer. Okay. So what's undeniable? 2 things are undeniable about playing by ear and about like, learning music in general, because this is just a musical skill. One, oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I was chewing and then I read the chat and then I lost my train of thought. Well, okay, here we go. One, it takes a lot of practice. Regardless, no matter what you're doing, musically, it's going to take a lot of practice, right? 2, some people are more adept at it than others, naturally. Like some people get perfect pitch, right? Some people have it, some people don't. Strong relative pitch, right? Sure, it depends on your background a little, right? If you're playing stringed instruments, if you have to create your own intonation, if you've done like different types of solfeggio, stuff like that, right? But some people have it or pick it up more easily, and some people don't, right? And so I prefer to think of it in a sense of like, how easily are you able to pick up a skill, right? Again, for me, my hands are pretty good at playing some runs, right? Some types of runs, but they're kind of bad at playing thirds. And I've worked at thirds before. I probably should work at thirds more, but like, you know, thirds are kind of tough. My ear does not pick up Russian music, you know, 20th century Russian music very well, which is why Love Sorrow is so difficult for me, even though it's not technically intensive, right, as some people would like to say. Why Prokofiev sonatas are very difficult for me, because I just don't hear things that way, right? And why impressionist music is something that like even Debussy is tough for me, because I don't hear things that way. And so it all depends, right? And so learning to play by ear, I think anyone can do it. How many years? I don't know, because I can't do it well myself either, TLDR, but probably a significant amount of time. Anyways, wow, I made it to the end of the list, and it only took me like an hour of streaming. Does this mean I get to take a break and sip my coffee? Were those answers satisfactory? Did people enjoy that? I also don't know who asked which questions, so I suppose I will now quick scroll through my tablet to see who asked what, and then if people said thanks, I will now say you're welcome as well, for a brief moment. Tablet rotate. It's not rotating. Why is it not rotating? I'm sad. Okay. Anyways, I'll just scroll. Whew. Okay, where did I go up to last time? Yeah, okay, so about improv. And okay. So yeah, again, everyone who asked a question, thank you so much for the questions. Right, I'm only reading your names now, so I wasn't able to give you the shout outs, right? Because my mods are just like throwing the questions into a doc for me so that I don't have to scroll through the chat, which is kind of annoying. But you know, thank you guys so much for the questions, and I hope that they were like genuinely helpful. At least the serious ones were, right? If you asked about anime and stuff, I hope those were illuminating and you can roast my taste later, or I can stage a defense right now. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, okay. Never had coffee? Interesting. Hello from Singapore. Thank you for tuning in, since it's evening for you. Okay, Ramu10, you do inverted. Didn't you just say you watched James Hoffman? Yes, but this was from like 20 minutes ago. So this is a question about my Aeropress technique. The reason I do inverted is because before James Hoffman did his Aeropress technique videos, I did inverted from the start. And so I tried it, regular, the way that he did it in his video. And honestly, like just for me, watching the coffee drip out before I put the plunger in is like panic inducing, because I'm like, oh no, I'm losing it. And even though it doesn't make that much of a difference on the final taste. So I'm like, I'll just make life easier for myself and just keep doing inverted. It doesn't add any steps actually for me, right? Because it's just a matter of, oh, am I flipping the cup over now, or am I flipping it on later, or I'm putting it in, so it's no difference for me. So yes, I do watch James Hoffman. James Hoffman does not do inverted, because in his tests, he's, at least for him, he doesn't think that it makes a difference in the flavor, losing those few drops. And he likes the benefit of having extra space in the chamber to brew with, so you don't have to, do what I did, which is dilute. But like personally, again, I'm gonna dilute it more. I just said it was strong, and I didn't add more water. Wow, why didn't I think of that? Genius. But again, I prefer brewing inverted because it's less panic inducing for me, and I get to take things easier, and I like to stir twice, because I've always stirred twice. And to me, it's just more fulfilling. Again, it's not an empirical taste thing, but it's just what I like to do. Anyways. Who's Martha? What are you using? Aeropress? I am using Aeropress. I should get a coffee machine. I'll get a grinder, but not a coffee machine, because drip kind of sucks. Yes. Alright. You don't like ASMR, sorry Adam. Alright, still scrolling through, currently learning, turns it down. Hello, Pure Water. I'll be your friend. Join my Discord. The J's make H sound and the H makes no sound. True. Yeah. I don't know. That was a comment on Spanish, I suppose. Alright. Nice change of view. Alright. Anyways. Sorry, I am going to scroll quickly through. Could you use those internet? Okay, so this is a question I presume about asking when I was talking about musicians and stuff like that. Donald Passman actually, doing a music career. Donald Passman talks about this in his book, Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry. One of the examples that he cites in the beginning is that labels are actively looking for people who have those numbers, right? Like it's a thing for you as an artist to show up and say I have 10,000 followers, right, on Instagram, right? Because that means something. If you have like subs means something in the world of music, right? And like monetary followers, right? So like patrons or like or members, YouTube members mean more as well, right? So it's like, you know, like people, right? Nobody's subscribers, and then like, you know, paid viewers or whatever, right? And those are very important statistics that you can take to venues, that you can take to labels and stuff like that, that help increase the odds of you getting the show, getting the position, getting the deal, whatever, right? Because at the end of the day, the way that you make money in music is if people like your content and consume it, right? And then the secondary thing is that if they like you enough or your content or your brand enough to then go see you, which means buying a ticket, means traveling to see you, or buying your merchandise, or buying, you know, other things from you, right? So it all is focused on like viewership and like people who care. So that's why. Yeah, research is kind of hard. Yep. Oh, I didn't realize Pure Water was in the chat. Pure Water is going into physics, so you should ask him. Yeah. Alright, it looks like we have gotten to the end of chat, and I am going to now go back to answering questions. Hello, James. And hello, Billy. And thank you, Supreme Vibes. I appreciate that. Yeah. Danny. You're Adam's cousin. I forgot about that. Sorry. But I'm glad you showed up. And who do I main in Melee? Fox. Because 20XX, baby. Fast hands for, you know, fast technical playing. But, yeah. I feel like Fox gives me movement options, but also allows me to be aggressive. So I'm like a very cautious person by nature, right? So you would think Marth, but I think Marth's combo structure is a little bit like, feels a little bit like more off to me. And Fox has like a better way of beating crouch cancel, which is literally shine, right? Than Marth, whereas Marth you actually have the space. And so the hit and run type of playing and more cautious like dash dance type of game for me feels better with Fox. And I also just have logged significantly less hours into Marth than I have Fox. Anyways. How much time do I practice daily? And how long have I been playing piano? I'll answer your first question because the second one has been, yeah, whatever. Oh, we'll start putting names. Thank you, mods. I appreciate that. So Ultronic asked this one. Yeah, I practice. So during the school year, I practice about an hour a day. Right now, I'm practicing like 3 to 4 hours a day because I can. But it really depends if I'm working on something, or if I want to, or if I have a deadline to meet. So right now, I have a deadline to meet, which is that I have to learn 11 pieces by Saturday again. And get them up to tempo, and hopefully be able to perform them. So, which might be a disaster since, I don't know, I haven't played such a hefty program in a long time. So all my haters out there, stop by on Saturday to watch me fail. All my followers and fans, stop by on Saturday because we're gonna have a good time, because I have many things to tell you through my playing, as you know. So Anyways, but that's about how long I practice a day, and really it depends. I try to put in at least an hour because I'm usually working on interesting enough things that I want to put in at least an hour. But you know, other things could take priority, like YouTube. I need to film videos and like script and I suppose eat food and stuff like that. But anyways, continuing on. This is something on licensing and not having your content copyright claimed. I'm quite a noob at that, but I didn't really look into it either, to be honest. Vin Ludens. If we're getting claimed on a composition, or if we're using the song's melody, I don't think there's much you can do about it. Unfortunately, international copyright law that kind of covers all that. And to be fair, like, I don't know what everyone's stance is on copyrights, right? Because it's like, it's a bit of a touchy subject. Some people are like, you know, all the content, copyright claims on my channel are like ridiculous, right? Because it's like, no, I'm taking the original work. I'm paying homage to the original work, and I want to, you know, use it without, you know, the copyright claim or whatever, and changing it enough. Other people would say you're using the original song's melody, you're using the original song's chord structure, especially if you're not reharmonizing, and all that stuff. And somebody had to come up with that, right? Somebody that's not you came up with that, and that's their intellectual property. Excuse me. I'm like trying to chew quickly. Bagel's been sitting out so long that it's not crispy anymore, and it's like kind of sad, because I like my bagels crispy, which is why you see it's kind of, you know, it's not, it's toasty, right? It's like past a weedy sunset, and it's like, could potentially get burnt if I left it in the toaster for much longer, but unfortunately it's been sitting out for too long that we've lost that flavor or that texture. But yeah, so I'm in the camp that's like somewhere in the middle. I believe I don't have a problem with people copyright claiming my content. So most of my anime stuff is copyright claimed, but the ones where I do a lot of talking, and I'm like analyzing and like critiquing, so like other people's playing, then I'm like, I feel a little bit more strongly about that, because I'm not just, you know, I feel like that's more clearly fair use. Because I am adding a lot more input. Whereas just taking the song's composition, it feels a little bit more like nebulous, whether or not that's like you're right or they're right or something in between, right? So honestly, I don't know what I can say. You kind of can't dodge the copyright claim bullet because it's automated, and they low-key, given the current set of like fair use laws and like stuff like that, they kind of have the legal right to do that as well. So it's fascinating. I think it's incredible that we're not getting struck for every video that we put out, because that's also within their right to do that. So that's also something that I'm being careful of as well. If I start getting strikes, then this channel, I hope you guys at least would join my Discord and would be aware of the fact of when I made a new channel and all stuff to that as well. Anyways, that's my answer. Sorry if that's not very helpful. Let's see. I'm curious, you ever get nervous before going live? Calico. I get nervous that stuff doesn't work. If this question is more with regards to me playing, then with me playing, I get very, very nervous. I'm thinking about Saturday has already got me like, you know, so I suppose that's the answer. I don't get too nervous about like answering questions or like, you know, doing stuff in front of the stream, because I feel like to a certain extent, I'm talking within my own bubble. So I am talking to people, like you guys on the other side of the screen, but you're not very direct to me, right? There's a bit of separation, and so talking within my bubble, I'm just like literally podcasting by myself and get to express everything that I want to express, which isn't too tough. What time is it in my country? It's 11:30, or 11:45 or so, right? What are my thoughts on Yuja Wang? She's been heavily criticized for her empty and technically perfect performances, and obviously her apparel on stage. Oh. I can avoid the second part of the question. So I've seen Yuja Wang come on my recommendations, but I haven't listened to her, so I can't give you, or much of her, so I can't give you many clear thoughts. So yeah, I'll just skip the question. Sorry about that. But if it's for empty and technically perfect performances, it's like, you know, it's one thing to stick to the standard way of interpreting. Well, I'm sorry, what was I gonna say? It's an interpretation to stick to the standard interpretation. So I would give her at least some benefit of the doubt, unless I heard an interview, right, about, you know, her thought process behind that. So, do I play Valorant? No. Favorite composer? Beethoven. Who do I prefer to listen to, Glenn Gould or Mitsuko Ichida. I haven't listened to Mitsuko Ichida, but Glenn Gould's kind of like it doesn't rub me the wrong way, but I don't prefer to listen to Glenn Gould because I feel like okay. Here's the thing with Bach interpretation. Bach interpretation, like I think ranges on a spectrum of like we're going to make this sound like the harpsichord, right, which is what Bach probably wrote for, or we're going to make it sound like a string quartet, or we're going to make it sound like an organ, right, on the piano. You're trying to do all like three things that aren't like piano on the piano, or you get the like really like interesting people who are like, heck, to like screw all that, like screw whatever Bach wrote it on. We're gonna make it sound like piano because we're playing on a piano now, right? So we're gonna make it like weird, like romantic or whatever, or like classical romantic. And those are like the really like you don't win competitions playing that way, but you can play a pretty good recital playing that way. So my interpretation, the way that I interpret Bach, tends to be in the middle, right? Between like this is for harpsichord and this is for piano, right? It's in between. Because you can't make the piano sound like a harpsichord, right? It sounds pretty bad if you played the piano like a harpsichord, or to a certain extent if you do it poorly. But if you make it like if you make it to piano, then you lose like the original intent that Bach had, and it becomes an entirely different beast. And so Glenn Gould errs on the side of harpsichord, right? I err on the side of like right in between, perhaps a little bit towards piano. And that's because that's the way my teacher taught me, right? And that's how my teacher plays. It's not that she's like, but like I remember there was one time in my master class and the guy told me to think of it as like, a string quartet. And then I played it and she's like, no, right? Like don't play that way. And I was like, okay. To be fair, right? My teachers, her best composer was Bach. So of course I deferred to her. I still do, right? And that's why I hear Bach the way that I do today. And so I suppose that's the answer to that question. Oh wow, I didn't realize the Aeropress was still in frame. I suppose I'll stick that here and stick this here as well. Anyways. Yes. What the heck? I'm a slow eater? I'm a slow eater when I'm talking. What the heck? What kind of criticism is that? I'm kidding. All right. Back to my questions page. Hello, Fonzie. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And Nicholas Giaconia, sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Thanks for stopping by too. And Harel Zaragoza, I'm just reading some chat right now and not the questions. All right, back to questions. Next milestone, mukbang stream from Fonzie. I suppose, I'm already eating and talking, I don't know. I think that's an option, that's viable. But who knows? I feel like people are already slowly becoming exhausted with Q&A, so we'll see if it continues. Gotta review the food along the Q&A next time. That is true. I already reviewed the coffee though, so we already got like half of that. But anyways. Bagels went from staccato to legato. That's a good one. Kitsune. Yeah, Fox is a lot of fun to play. I think so. Fox and Falcon are probably the two characters I put the most time into. So back to Melee, and I feel like so this is based on my limited understanding of the game, right? Oh, also by the way, if you didn't know, PPMD's channel is a big inspiration for how I do my channel too. So y'all should go watch some high quality educational Melee content. But what was I gonna say? I think Fox gets like an interesting rap because it's like, everyone plays Fox and Fox is free, yada yada. But Fox is kind of not free, right? Like if you mess up as Fox, or less so with Falco, right? So more so with Falco, right? If you mess up with Falco, you get thrown off stage by Marth, you're dead, right? Even at like low to mid levels online, lots of people just kill you off the throw. Kind of similar with Fox. Fox has a little bit more like options or a little bit more survivability because his Firefox is much longer, so you can opt to go high a little bit more than you could with Falco and survive for longer. But the combo game with Fox is much weaker, right? Like you have to work to win neutral a little bit more, and even against like mid-level players who are playing Marth who throw out randy F smashes, at least they try to time their F smashes, and you just jump in, then you get murdered and hit off stage and you die. So it's like you have to work a little bit with Fox. You have to work to get around Falcon's laser. You have to work. You get like stomp kneed by Falcon all the time, but it's like kind of fun, right? It's kind of fun to think about neutral. I suppose even given my personality, I enjoy that a lot. But do I listen to video game music? Oh, this is a question from the Q&A, Calico. Come on. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I don't listen to video game music because I don't play that many games, right? Like RPGs. So I play fighting games, right? And stuff like that. So, what do I want to say? So yeah, my favorite video game soundtrack is Doki Doki Literature Clubs, right? And of course, Your Reality is the greatest song ever. So, anyways, let me go back to my questions. By the way, shoutouts to my mods, John, and I don't know who this other mod is who's currently on, but I assume that it's Venetia, or Adisai, or someone else. But shoutouts to them for, you know, compiling my questions, because the chat is a little bit dense at times, so which is very helpful. Your Reality piano cover, yes, Elijah. One day. Okay. What do you think of online piano teachers over webcam? Someone just starting, is it pretty disadvantageous, or really, there's not really that too much? My opinion is skewed, biased, because I am currently teaching online. Right, so I'll preface that question with that. But I think starting off, you're slightly disadvantaged, because one of the ways that is best to learn by, or that helps you the most, is not only having a teacher to tell you what you're doing wrong, but having a teacher to like physically move your arms and your hands into the proper position, right? I can't reach through a screen and tell you that this is how your hand is supposed to be when it's resting on the keys, and then like adjust that, right, by pressing on different points of your hand to suit you, right? Over webcam, I can only say your hand is supposed to be like this. No, try this, try that, try holding a water bottle, try holding a cup, try holding like this to try to get the shape, but I can't physically do that for you, right? I can't physically teach you how it's supposed to feel. And even some, you know, of course, over online, you get like technical issues as well, but those are becoming less and less of a thing, or less and less relevant. If you have a decent teacher, they can make out, I think most of the time, at least what you're going for. Now, of course, it's going to be slightly less precise than if someone was sitting there with you, right? The other disadvantage is that you don't get to play someone else's instrument. So typically, you'll go to a teacher's place, right? And it's nice playing an instrument, especially if your teacher's like well established. They'll have a good piano, and so that might be your only chance, you know, to play on a good piano. And so, you know, that's also something to consider. But yeah, so, oh, somebody exited the premise. But yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I think starting off, it's better to have a IRL teacher, but after a little bit, you can, you know, get away with it. I shouldn't say get away with it, but like online teaching helps a lot more. But either ways, teaching of any sort is going to be great or help you a lot. And Kitsune, thanks for the super chat as well. I appreciate it, dude. Dude, it's been real nice getting to know you in server and stuff like that, and having good talks about everything, from music to anime to cannot knees. So I appreciate you a lot, dude. Do I teach piano? Yes. How much are my private lessons? Please email me for that, because rates change. Rates change, and I don't want to disclose too much because I do have students in stream right now. Anyways, going back to the doc. You have instruments that are new to you that you like to try and play? From V-Name. Yes. So, it is a dream of mine to play bass, to slap. Because, you know, so Davey 504 aside, right, since we all know, slap that like button. Anyways, when I worked the open mic at a local music venue when I interned a few years back, the highlight of the evening for me, almost without fail, every single time, would be at the end of the open night, mic night, when everyone else was gone, and the only person who was left was the guy emceeing the show, right, or like directing or whatever, or just like, you know, calling people up when they signed up. And he was a bassist, right? He like, I think he built his own bass, or at least modded it heavily himself. And he would always just go up. He'd be like, so it's my turn. Anyone want to jam with me? I'm gonna start playing, and you know, we'll just have fun, right? And so he would play like funk, right? And you know, sometimes the venue owner or general manager would go up and he would play on drums, and like sometimes there would be like old dude who was like shredding on the guitar for no reason, and it would be a very weird conglomeration of like funk on the bass, and then like some guy shredding on like a tiny amp, and then like another guy like just drumming along, but they would all have a really good time. And so after seeing that, I was like, man, I want to play bass. But not enough to give up on piano at the moment. Bass and drums. Who's my favorite Doki Doki Literature Club member? Yes, it is Venetia. Okay, Vinay. Oh gosh, who was it? I think Monica's the most interesting character, obviously, right? But I think when I first played it, I was going to Yuri. Was it Yuri? Or her name's Yuri, right? The purple hair girl's route. So before I realized that, you know, if you wanted if you've never played Doki Doki Literature Club before, if you want the good ending, or like the best ending, you have to save scum your way through it and get all the cutscenes, or sorry, what are they called in visual novels? I forget, but all the you know, full art scenes. And so I didn't play the Natsuki route, and I didn't play the Saori route either. So I guess we answered those questions. Kawaii piano's good. You can buy a digital piano from Kawaii. You know, I've played some Kawais before. I've played some like Grands. Did they have Grand? Was it Grand? I forget. But I don't have too much experience with it. Again, the brand that I have the most experience with is Yamaha, and then like Steinway stage pianos. So I can't really answer that question. It's just like, yeah, try it out, right? Does it feel comfortable? Do you like the weighting of the keys? Is it weighted at all, right? If it's not weighted, then especially if you want to get good at piano, if you're using it for production, that's fine, right? But if you want to get good at playing the piano, then you need weighted keys. And yeah, so yeah. When did my name become Vinay? My bad. I mean Venetia. Venny. So you walk in the airport, about to board your plane. Minutes early, it's on grand piano. A lot of people around. Do I play it? Depends on what they're doing. If nobody else is playing it, then probably not. Because you know, I don't want to be a public nuisance, especially since I, you know, probably won't play it well. Also, the piano might probably sound abused, and so that would just make me sad. But anyways. Yes. Allow me to sip more of my coffee, and I will get my cold brew. Honestly, I'm so happy that I found a local roaster that, you know, I don't know. And also, there's such a nice petite little cafe that I like sitting there and like, you know, doing work on my tablet and sketching out video ideas there too. So, Airport pianos, Calico? Dude, I feel like I haven't been out enough, you know, at different places to see that many public pianos. So that's part. I suppose that's half my issue. I haven't been around enough public pianos. Maybe my opinion would change, but like, I feel like I'm the type of person who's just like very for lack of a better term, how do I say? I don't want to say that I would integrate into like Japanese society well, but like the sort of politeness and like I don't want to get in anybody's way. Like that's how I think, right? And so if there's nobody breaking the trend of not playing the piano, then I'm likely to not play the piano, right? Of course, I don't mind being like trendsetter at times, right? Of course, I mean, considering how I make content on this channel that's different from like everyone else, right? At least in any piano, but like, you know, for something where a lot of people are doing their things, typically I'll find myself deferring to what people are doing and not doing, because I don't want to be a public nuisance even if I'm not. So anyways, allow me to continue after I grab my coffee. So this is what I call my ghetto cold brew. I literally stick the grounds into a French press because I don't have a pouch or like something else or like a pour over to do it. So I stick it into my French press, and then if I'm looking for something that's really nice or like well done, then I'll like run it through the Aeropress to filter out the grounds or whatever. But I'm not feeling that today, so I'm just gonna decant, and we'll see how this tastes. I think I went 19 grams for 275 mils of water, simply because it's cold, and so you lose some of the some of the strength from the brew. I'm gonna take this and put this over here. So, anyways, yes. All right, allow me to hop back onto my dock. Any thoughts on reviewing Maris's Maris 8 piano covers? I've watched some of his videos. Okay, so the thing with reviews on this channel is that I want to review things that are educational and instructional for you, right? I don't ever want to, so with review videos, I don't ever want to review a pianist that I would criticize, right? Or criticize for playing poorly. That's not saying that Maris plays poorly, but that is like all these things have to factor in, right? If I can teach, and if they play well enough, and if there's something interesting to talk about, right? So if they're lacking in any of these categories, or I suppose not lacking in the playing poorly category, then I'm not making a video on them, right? And that's a very much so a judgment call on my part at the moment. And also it depends a little bit on what my audience wants to see. So yeah, that's why I don't want to frustrate the Ishtar, but it's like one of the reasons why I don't review Ishi videos is because some of the things that he does are like unconventional, right? Obviously, because he's self-taught. Not that he plays poorly, but some of them are unconventional, and I feel like are not as helpful to a larger audience, right? And so I'm not going to review something like that, and especially when I would disagree with some of the things that he does. With regards to comments about like me, so my favorite comments are ones that are telling me that I'm not good enough to review Animens or to analyze him, or that I don't play as well as Animens, therefore I can't say anything about him because I'm judging and criticizing him. I mean, if you watch my videos, right, you know that for most of it, I don't really say anything negative about their playing, right? If I'm saying anything negative about the playing, that's usually happening on a stream, right? And that's usually with videos that are submitted to me. So people who are expecting to get criticism, right, about their playing. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to be as nuanced as possible when I'm delivering criticism, and that's just something that I can't do on a YouTube video because it has to be short enough, and it has to be interesting enough, and it has to be educational enough, right? And also, if I make a video like that without the person's consent, right, or without notifying the person and getting their approval, then it feels like I'm taking a shot at them too, right? Which I don't want to do. So, all that being said, and that's also why I don't review videos that aren't submitted by the person who's played them, right? I'm not taking shots at anyone, except when I did the reaction stream with Fruit, like that was pure reaction, right? It wasn't like nuanced like criticism or like anything. So that's like more acceptable, like if it's as casual as that. But like beyond that, it really depends, right? And that's a call on my end. Anyways, so yeah. But personally, I haven't seen enough of his videos, and I'm sure there's probably something good there to review as well. So I will look into that perhaps at some point. What's my favorite pianist? I presume that, sorry, I skipped the Animens Hamura arrangement. What are my thoughts on Animens Hamura arrangement? I enjoyed it. It's been a few weeks since I listened to it, and I listened to it like a few times. Only a few times, so it's not like burned in my brain, so I don't quite remember how it differs from the rest, but I remember enjoying it. So I suppose that's the answer. Who's my favorite pianist? Who do I listen to the most? Like when I hop on Spotify, I think I listen to a lot of Christian Zimmerman, and I have for years now. Christian Zimmerman, I enjoy a lot. And it was more recently, I enjoy listening to Katine because he's like pretty unique, right? He's very unique, and I feel like he brings a lot of new energy to the table. But the musicians that I listen to now on YouTube are ones that, or surprise, ones that I feel like I have more personal connection with, right? So like Tiffany Poon, right? Is it any wonder that she has such a large following or such a dedicated following when she puts so much of her like ideas and thoughts out there, right? And you feel like you know her better as a person, right? I hope that that's part of the reason why you're sticking around for my stuff too. But like containing Tiffany Poon, Christian Zimmerman, Horowitz is still fantastic, and of course love listening to Argerich as well. What kind of roast do I prefer? I prefer dark roast, so I'm trying my hand at some lighter stuff, but I honestly haven't had too much light roast in my life, which is why I can't say for certain that I enjoy dark roast at the exclusion of all others. Curious, what was the reason that I learned piano or started learning piano seriously? Well, that's because I was young and my parents were like, "You're learning piano." Do I know Traum, Cassia, and Rousseau? And who's my favorite? I know Traum, I don't know Cassia, and I know Rousseau, and who's my favorite? Out of the three of them, I can't say that I listen to too much of them, right? So first and foremost, that's the caveat. I think Rousseau has some interesting things. I listen to mostly Rousseau. Out of the three of them, right? Of course, I don't know Cassia, so I can't say. But Rousseau and Traum, I listen to more Rousseau, so I probably have to say Rousseau. But you know, have I listened to any Kyle Landry? Very little. Not enough to give like good feedback or like thoughts or comments on. Yeah, when I spend my time frequenting, okay, so here's the thing, right? This is similar to like playing piano or listening to classical music. When I listen to piano music, I want to sit down and listen to piano music, right? Like I don't want to be distracted while I'm doing it. And if I'm trying to multitask by doing it, I find myself diverting attention away from the task that I'm trying to do and listening to music more than I am doing the task, and I become like very frustratingly inefficient at both. So I end up not listening to a lot of piano music, and I end up not listening to a lot of classical music either because of that. Both because I'm playing a lot of it, and because I'm working on it a lot, and also because I require like a lot of attention to do so. And when I don't have a space for a lot of attention, then that doesn't happen. So, yeah. Anyways, allow me to frequent chat again. I'm just gonna flip back and forth. Calico would undoubtedly kill it on stage. I agree. Honestly, Calico, your playing is fantastic, and I really enjoy listening to it. You should live stream as well. Let's see. Is a very particular style? Yeah. It is super consistent quality. Very true. Hello, Rugonos, Gushtmistne. Sorry, I totally botched that. I don't know why I attempted. But thank you for joining the stream right after visiting the dentist. I appreciate you being here. Got really addicted to it. Unique flat-ish fingers and of course his fast passages. Yeah. It's interesting. So flat fingers are, you know, I don't ever want to discount or discredit flat fingers because I use them a lot too. And as I said multiple times on this channel, but it's like a lot of people, or especially for educational purposes, a lot of people watching this content, right? So again, if you know, go on to like bigger, like, you know, like classical or like more advanced classical stuff, and you compare my playing to theirs, I would hope that that via my review videos and via the things that I put out, I'm teaching you, someone who's either starting off at piano, so I'm speaking to a very specific person here, so not Calico. So I'm teaching you how to listen to what's good in a piano piece, what's bad in a piano piece, what can be better, and what distinguishes great playing or one pianist from another, and what makes something like really, really good, right? And along with that, I hope that you're able to hear some of my ideas in what I'm playing, but also hear how a lot of other people, like all these great pianists, are like way beyond me, right? And so I kind of set myself up to look a little worse simply by doing that. So to all the haters out there who are like, "Why are you criticizing? You're not good enough." Well, I'm offering thoughts so that you can see how I'm not good enough to be able to do it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah. So, but all that being said, most of the people, a lot of the people who are watching these videos are, you know, new to the piano or self-taught for many years and have pretty bad habits. And so teaching flat fingers or like talking about flat fingers, I think is regressive, right? Because it's not foundational for a lot of people, and it can be a little bit damaging if you take that too far, especially if you've been playing with flat fingers poorly. That you're just gonna keep running with that, and it's gonna be a bad thing. His recordings of the 4 ballades are absolutely best. I love his recordings of the ballades. It's like dang. I don't know. Like, I feel like the way Zimmerman interprets the ballades is the closest to my interpretation, which might be why I enjoy him so much for the ballades. Song Chin Cho, yes. You would die of nervous jitters if you went live. Yes, we should stream together sometime. That's the conclusion, Calico. All right. Let's go back to the docs. And in our we're closing in on the last 15 minutes here, because I wanted to stop streaming by like 12:30, 12:45, so that my family can start utilizing the kitchen again. So, all right. Do I find myself overanalyzing piano music sometimes? No. Well, sometimes, yeah. But I find that, okay, so as I've said, actually I think I cut this out of some of my videos. So I don't sit down with the intention to analyze music, which then, you know, a lot of times, like, analysis is both like picking apart what's good and what's bad and then trying to explain it, right? So one of my favorite things to do is quantifying qualities, right? As you could probably tell, quantifying via words. I like being able to describe what's going on and to say precisely why this is something good and why this is bad, or like how to do something that's like very abstract and difficult to describe, which is why I suppose I make my videos. But it's like, you know, if I don't approach like listening like that, then I don't necessarily have to, which then it allows me to also enjoy listening to, like, you know, beginners play, and hopefully makes me less of a snob. But yeah, if something's really good, I'll be like, oh my gosh, and that'll like get me for a hot sec. I'm gonna play stream Genshin whenever I have, you know, people want it. Top 5 favorite anime. If we're counting movies as well, then it's Your Lie in April, Anohana, Your Name, what is it? A Silent Voice, and let's see. Oh, what's the last one? I think I really like Bunny Girl Senpai. It's kind of hard to look at like a list. Like, you know, I rate all the animes that I watch out of 10, or anime that I watch out of 10, a 10-point scale. And so, but it's kind of hard to like judge just purely off of that, because each season is like its own thing. So AniList, right? But you know, I think those consistently stick out on top. If we're not counting movies, let me quick peek, just so that I can make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. I really like Fate Zero. I finished Violet Evergarden recently, and I extremely enjoyed that as well. And of course, Snafu. The last season was incredible, I think. So, yes. Next. Tips about not tensing up hands, fingers, or shoulders from playing. Thank you, good vibes. Villain FN. Yes, so I would say first and foremost, evaluate how you're sitting. And then second, be mindful of how you're playing. It's kind of hard to, you know, just, of course you can do exercises, right? So play some like exercise slowly, right? Slow practice to get a feel for how things are supposed to be. But breathing is super important as well. Like, breathe properly. Make sure you're not holding your breath, because a lot of people do that, which is kind of weird, right? Holding your breath makes you tense. But make sure you're breathing properly. Evaluate every few measures or so how you are sitting, how you're playing, and especially when you're playing slowly. And this is why slow practice is so important. Slow practice, again, as I defined before, playing slowly means playing at a tempo where you can think about everything that you want to do. So you can think about each note, you can think about how your hands are feeling, you can think about everything, right? And when you're playing and when you're practicing that way, make sure that you're not squeezing right? Or tensing up. From the shoulder first, right? So always evaluate the shoulders first because it's the most important. Because if you're tense in the shoulders, then you're going to be tense everywhere else. So make sure your shoulders are not tense. So fix that first, and then work on your forearm, and then work on your wrist, right? And then your fingers, because it goes down this way. As for like more specifically hand tension, there are some things that you're going to have to be a little bit more tense about and stretch for, right? So that can be helped. But like, you know, make sure that you always, it's like, this is hard to explain, right? And I suppose that's why quantifying qualifiable things is a little bit hard to explain, because there's no like very specific exercise that you can do. It's just slow practice and making sure that you develop fluidity while slowly practicing, right? It's like almost saying like, how do you squat, right? You can give all the pointers on how to squat, but like, you know, until you get the bar in your back, you don't really understand what it means to keep the bar over mid-foot and to hinge at the hips, right? So it's like, it's kind of like that. So take it slow, be very aware, and be mindful of how you're doing things. And then once you develop fluidity, right, and you feel like you're not tense while you're playing at a slow tempo, that's when you can start scaling. Okay. I mentioned that tinnitus. You also have tinnitus. You also play piano and it drives you crazy sometimes. Have you discovered any good ways to deal with it? About a year ago, I developed tinnitus, for people who don't know, and that's why I get some of my more emotional pieces from the time as well, and also why, you know, at the end of last summer, that's why I got so many pieces to record, because last summer was spent playing piano, processing this. But how do I deal with it? So fortunately, my tinnitus is not like too severe, right? I haven't had to do like white noise when sleeping or whatever, and it's become very normalized for me to the point where like most of the times I don't even notice it. How do I deal with this? Sometimes it's like when I'm practicing piano, I use earplugs, right? And you know, when I'm using a metronome, I use like headphones or like, you know, in-ear headphones, so that I can block out some of the piano noise so it doesn't get worse, and so it doesn't bother me as much. So that's how I deal with it. What do you think about 432 hertz pitch? Yeah, digital piano change of pitch sounds more funky for sure. I don't know too much about 432 because I don't have a digital piano that can do that. But I've always tuned to 440A because I play violin, so no comment. Favorite piano piece other than Ballad? Number one, let's see. Honestly, my senior year recital, the last two pieces that I played were very compelling. I really enjoy Medicine Variation series, simply because of like the gravity of like the theme and the way that it works. It's worked throughout, and you get like even like a, you know, with all variations, right? You get some very interesting variations, and you get some like fugal, almost like moving variations as well. And so it's a very beautiful theme. Yeah, you watched the movie Sayuri Chen? Yes, I did. I saw Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl, and I thought that was incredible. It was like, bruh. I think the payoff was in the movie as well. And also with like the mystery of like Shoko Makinohara or whatever, and like how she plays into everything, that was very interestingly explained. I think it was, at the very least, it was consistent enough that like it didn't, like, it's always weird when you introduce like supernatural elements, but like to a show that's supposed to be pretty realistic. But since that's like literally the premise of like the entire show, it wasn't bad, and it was done pretty well. No spoilers. But yeah. Anyways, allow me to scroll through my comments again. Or chat. Wow, still 35 people. Honestly, like I just do this. And it's like, wow, all these things. Whatchamacallit? Yeah. When I do piano streams, I get like 15 people watching. When I'm drinking coffee and answering questions, I get 35. Maybe I should just do this all the time. Yeah. Anyways. Darth Vader. Thank you. Yeah, I hope my answers are sufficient for you guys, especially for the serious questions. The sound voice I think is very interesting because, well, it was compelling enough that I read the manga afterwards too. So, and the manga definitely expounds a lot more on some of the side characters and a lot of the themes. But I think the movie took like a lot of, like what it could from manga, right, and made it into a thing. And so some of the more side plot, like where it ends in the movie, or it makes a lot of sense. The manga doesn't end there, right? It goes a little bit further, but that's because there are also more plot to carry it further, and the side characters who are necessary to carry it further are like more developed as well. So, yes, coziest stream ever. Thank you, Fruit. Yes, Violet Evergarden is great. Hello, San Carrero is back. All right. Yeah, tinnitus is kind of annoying, but when you become acclimated, I guess it's less annoying. But it's like, tinnitus comes from two things, right? You can get acute tinnitus, so I'm gonna drink water because I'm really feeling it on the back of my throat because the coffee is like kind of sticking. Tinnitus, oh, somebody's typing stuff in my mod. My mods are having a conversation of their own in my dock. Tinnitus is caused by, acute hearing damage. So like when you go to a loud concert and you come out, your ears are ringing, that usually recovers, right? But if you experience that too much, then you get hearing loss induced tinnitus, which is literally your brain trying to hear for like missing frequencies. And so it turns up the sensitivity in your hearing, and then it turns it up so high that you hear the electrical noise on your nerves. And so that's what I have. I don't know how I got hearing damage, but I do. It's not severe, it's very mild. And so it's, one doctor said it was probably genetic, one doctor said it was probably noise induced, and both audiograms were slightly different. One said one thing, one said another, and I'm like, well, the general practitioner, family physician was also like, the recommendation, how you're gonna fix both is exactly the same because you're not recovering hearing. Don't listen to loud things anymore. And so I'm like, aight. Anyways, continuing on. All right, here we go. Yes, please keep messages safe for work. Thanks for stopping by, Claudio. I appreciate you being here. All right, more questions. I guess this is the last batch of questions that we'll tackle for today before I sign off with my 37 concurrent viewers. All right. Oh, and thank you for tipping Des. Is it Des? Yes, Des Anime on Piano. I really appreciate your support. Yes. All right. Did I ever hit a point while learning when I felt like I hit a plateau in progression? If so, is there anything I changed in practice to overcome it? I don't think I ever felt like I explicitly like plateaued and was unable to like keep going. But like, it's I think what I do is I just take it slowly and just keep like working on it. And if I really, really plateau, then it means it's time for a piece to move on to the back burner. And so I'll start working on new things, and I'll just, keep that where like every once in a while, maybe like every week or so, like play it once or something until I feel like picking it up again, and then it gets better, right? Because I learn new things and it like kind of like sits and like marinates for a little bit. So, all right, here we go. Best way to learn chord progressions. Okay. Oh, first, Silent Carrero. If you watch Tokyo Ghoul or Attack on Titan, first off, y'all should go something to Silent Carrero and check out her stuff because she made the awesome banner that you see on stream right now, the background and the banner on my channel. So, shout outs to her. But have I seen either? Nope. Will I at some point? Probably. Let's see. Best way to learn chord progressions. I think you just want to listen to a whole bunch, right? Sit down and play your, cadences and stuff and do all the inversions and then get used to how chords feel. That's something that I'm still working on. And that was a recommendation that my friend who plays jazz piano gave to me. I don't think he's in the stream right now. If you are, Joel, you should make yourself known. But he's like, what was the question? So in Jacob Collier's Q&A on Wired on like sad chords, happy chords, like the most recent one, his answer was like, what makes a chord sad, what makes a chord happy, right? It depends on context. Like typically we think of minor being sad, major being like happy, but that's like in isolation, right? If you have like a, you know, like a half cadence or whatever and it's in minor, you might end on like the dominant, right? And if you're raising the the third in the dominant to it becomes major, it still sounds like very sad, right? So I would listen to chords in different keys and get a feel for how they are, and then the movement of chords is what you want to recognize and remember, I think, and that's something I'm still working on as well. Yes, looks like a good piano. But what I recommend, the one that I'm using, link is in chat, or mods can throw that in as well. Yamaha P125. How to improve tempo? You wanna, okay, so tempo is an interesting thing, and that's probably one of the next few things that I'm going to be talking about. And it's kind of tough to like talk about tempo and rhythm, and have like very compelling demonstrations of that as well, which is why I haven't, you know, filmed or recorded those videos yet. But you know, whatchamacallit, how do you improve tempo? The most important thing with tempo is feeling the pulse. If you don't feel the pulse of the music, if you don't feel how the song is going, then you're not gonna understand tempo or how it should be. If you want to think pulse, you can just think of EDM or like perhaps more electronic music where the kick is like boom, 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 and like, or like you know kicking bass, like, or stuff like that. And so you want to feel the right when you're playing to a certain extent. So if it's in 4/4, right, for example, Moonlight Sonata, you want to feel that pulse, right? Or if it's like in 6/8, you want to like that, right? You want to feel that. And so I think that's the best way to improve tempo. One way to do it is with, of course, a metronome, right? So that you like really drill into yourself like how it feels. But another is just to listen and to engage with the pulse. And once you have done that, then you can start internally pushing the pulse forward or pulling the pulse back, right? And that's how you get your rubatos, that's how you get your accelerados and ritordatos and stuff like that. So anyways, any tests for learning Sudachi no Uta? I don't know what piece that is, so no. Sorry. 10K, hello Hem86, first 500. Dang, you've been here for a while, since March. So thanks for sticking with me. Want beatbox stream? I wish. Again, I think I've said this on stream before. One of the reasons why I stopped beatboxing was because I couldn't do the throat bass, and so I was like, I'm sad now. I couldn't do click rolls either, or not click. I can't do click rolls. I can't do top rolls or lip rolls. Like I can't do the napalm earthquake, like the or whatever that he does like out the side of his mouth. So yeah, and that's when I stopped in high school. Anyways, play EDM music in the background when practicing piano. Yeah, exactly. Listen to lots of Fripp side. I don't know. Anyways, yes, it's been a while. It's been a while, dude. Thanks for stopping by again. All right. We'll answer the last few questions here before closing up and calling it a day. And so I can go, you know, video edit for Tuesday and practice for Saturday. If you're here, you should come stop by on Saturday to listen to me play live, where I will be seated at my piano and nervous out of my mind and playing some fun things. There will be lots of animens. There will be some Chopin, and there will be some Beethoven as well. So, anyways, how would I recommend practicing 3 against 2 polyrhythms? Debussy's Arabesque #1 and having some trouble. So 3 against 2 is fun. I think the best way to practice is slowly, and but like the other thing that you want to do, any sort of polyrhythm, is literally on the page, right? You know, like most editors do, or most editions do this. They've lined up the beats where they are, but draw the lines on your score to where you want things to be. So, for example, if I had like, you know, 8th notes in my right hand on top, right, and triplets in my left, then I would line up the first beat, and then I want to draw the line for the second one directly after the second triplet, right, for this 8th note here. So it should go like this. And so when you practice, you want to feel where that 8th note comes in, the gap between the 8th note and this second triplet. And then when you go faster, right, you want to again feel that gap, but like reduce that. And then when you're going really fast for anything, right, no longer is it about like counting those like out like this, but counting where the explicit beats are, or like something else, right? And so it's like, you know, I for me, when I'm practicing like polyrhythms like this, I always first and foremost look for where I want things to line up, and then I look for the subdivisions, and then I see how I want to finagle those to at least make them feel okay. So. Anyways, yes, thanks for stopping by, Hem86. It's been good. What time on Saturday? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So unfortunately, that makes it very un-European friendly. So y'all have to catch the VODs, but yeah, it makes it very Asia friendly, I suppose. Instead. So yes. Wasn't this supposed to be my 1K recital? It was. I didn't explicitly say that it was going to be my 1K recital, but it was going to be whenever I had time to practice and sit down and do it, which I was hoping to be around 1K, but then I did an Unravel stream and then I was at like 2K the next day, so it didn't work. Live is Laid, concert soon, and analysis of Tiffany Poon was so good. I'm glad that you found it helpful. Unfortunately, I can't read your name because it's in, I don't know if that's kanji or Chinese characters, and I can't read them either ways. But it's, yeah, I'm glad it's helpful, and that there's things to think about, because I have lots to think about with Tiffany Poons as well. Yes, thanks for stopping by, Fakins. I know you're going to be in a train. This is so sad. Watch the VODs, watch the VODs. That's what the VODs are for. But anyways. I feel like I need to drink water. Yes, I'm just growing too quickly. I wish. You know, growth has stagnated these past few weeks, right? But that's okay. I hope that like the content that I keep putting out is helpful for, you know, all of you, and interesting, right? Helpful and interesting. And you know, first and foremost, the objective is to educate, but if you find them entertaining as well, then I guess that's also a plus. I'm gonna go grab a quick cup of water just because I need to drink something. Yes, we are now in overtime, officially. You should do this often. It's so much fun. So I suppose so, perhaps, with the chill vibes. I don't know. Maybe I could do it in my room and it would be the exact same. Yes. Any suggestions on how to understand offbeats? Again, it's feeling the pulse, right? When you feel the right, you want to feel that hi-hat, like. And when you get to the offbeat, right, that's when things are like lighter, right? The hi-hat inherently feels less forceful than the kick, right? And it's almost like when you feel it here, like, so if you imagine you're at a concert, right, you feel the bass is frequently with the beat, right, because it's strong. And so when you're playing a song, even classical, right, you want to like that, right? And the offbeats are where it's lighter a little bit, right? Of course, if you're playing something very syncopated, then sometimes you want to accentuate the offbeats to, like, you know, make that a thing. But, like, you know, it really depends on the piece. Am I still offering piano lessons? Yes, sir, I am. Please contact me at my email, and I'll get you sorted out. I'm always so cheerful. I hate it. I'm sorry for being too happy, but that's okay. I'm cheerful on stream because I'm talking about things that I enjoy. I think if you've seen me in Discord before, you'll know that I'll sit there sometimes very silently for a long time and not contribute to conversation when it's not on piano or anime. Just playing double notes, same time I have to have minimal time overlap between the two notes. Yeah, so if you're thinking of playing with just, like, you know, your fingers like this, then it's kind of tough. But you want to play some of those, so either with wrist, up and down, so it depends how fast you're going. So, like, if I'm playing octaves, right, it's all up and down like this, right? And I've if I'm playing like, you know, less than octaves or whatever, or something that not requiring that, then it's like the whole arm moves as a unit. So you want to position the hands in such a way that your fingers will all touch the keys and press down on the keys at the same time when your whole arm depresses onto the keys. And it's a matter of practicing that. Sometimes you could even practice rolling, right, and then like shortening that roll and like practicing quickly, and to get like some of that rotation down to help with that. Thanks for stopping by, Calico. Unfortunately, the next stream is not friendly for you. Content is very fresh, and you do it even better. Yes, I hope it's going places. Thank you, Roger. Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's very interesting. And I suppose I will close with this. And thanks for stopping by as well, Ariel. Orinka is okay. You have a whole VOD to watch, but I think this is the last thing that I'll say. This channel, right? There is no art that's created in isolation, right? There's nothing creative that is in isolation, right? For people who are breaking the mold or whatever, they still know what the mold is before they break it, right? Like you don't become like a pianist by not listening to other people play. I suppose that I can't make that as a super blanket statement, right? But you know, it's just, you know, most of the time. And so this channel is a conglomerate of basically all the content that I watch, which is, I suppose, makes sense because I make content that I would enjoy watching to some extent. I don't watch my own videos that much because I kind of like, it's not that I can't stand my voice or I can't stand my things, but like I always feel like I could do better, right? Which is, you know, I suppose a good mentality if it's not taken too far, right? If it's not like a perfectionist sort of like drive, like it is like paralysis by perfectionism. But like, you know, it's interesting to see where the inspirations come from, right? If you know where to look for them. So if you watch Melee content, right, Dr. PP, PPMD, if you watch like, you know, vocal coach reviews like by Tristan Paredes and stuff like that, then you'll recognize some of that here. If you like fighting games like Dragon Ball Fighter Z and you see all the like super memey thumbnails by like Cloud 805 and like Hookgan God, then you'll see where some of my thumbnails come from, right? If you like Two Set, you like Davey 504, you like even some like musicians like Tiffany Poonkatin and like Animens and like all that, you'll see like where a lot of these inspirations come from. And what's interesting about doing art like this is it is the same for playing piano or doing anything else, is that you are the sum of like all your experiences, and nobody will understand things that you see, or even if they saw the exact same things, they wouldn't get the same things out of it that you do, right? And so, you know, that's I suppose a selling point for a channel like this, right? You get some of everything. Like even freaking like, you know, Vic Got Game and Katrin54 with their pen spinning stuff. Like some of that has impact on this. And like if you throw it really far back, Ryan Higa, right? With Niga Higa and stuff like that. So, and like Kev Jumba. That was like from my high school, middle school years. So yeah. If you want to be, so this is the advice, right, for YouTube content creators, and then like also Recording Revolution, Graham Cochran, like educational stuff, like, you know, it's of science, Veritasium, and a little bit of metaphysics as well. So, you know, basically TLDR, if you want to be a good content creator, if you want to be a good creative in any sort of field, even if you want to start your own business type of stuff, you need to understand what's out there, right? And there's always going to be at the very baseline of whatever you do. So in small business, or any business, the question is always, what makes you unique, right? Why does someone watch your content? Why does someone buy your product? Why does whatever, right, over someone else's? And you always need to have a very solid, like, unique selling prospect or like USP or whatever. And so, but at the very baseline, especially with creative things, at the very fundamental level, at the most fundamental level, your unique selling prospect is you, right? And so that's something that I hope that you can see through my content, that this is very me, right? And even if you disagree with some of the things, that you'll at least appreciate me for who I am to an extent. And I hope you see that in my music, hear that in my music as well. Anyways, I'm not allowed to end stream. You just got here, dang. But we'll give it 4 more minutes. A pianist in my mind. Yes, that's how it is. My voice fits my way of speaking so well. Thank you, I appreciate that. I don't think I've ever gotten so many compliments on my voice since I started YouTube. I always feel like I don't unlike, okay, so I know a lot of people don't like hearing their voice, but since I've been recording stuff for so long, and because I also did a tiny bit of podcasting, I'm very used to hearing my own voice. I don't have a problem listening to my voice. But sometimes I'm like, you know what, my voice would be better if it was a little bit lower, because I have some friends who have a lower voice and are better speakers than me, and I'm like, dang, I wish I was him. But not really. Sometimes. Anyways, I haven't heard Kev Jumba's name in a long time. I haven't watched, Kev Jumba's channel is kind of gone now, and I haven't seen him since like, early high school. But like some of that meme energy still carries, right? In ways that you don't really understand. I'm a very well-spoken person. Thank you, Adisai. I appreciate that. I think I'm just good at stream of consciousness speaking and speaking off the cuff, and perhaps like pulling things together in a more elaborate fashion than a lot of people are able to, or I suppose putting words to things that are a little bit more abstract. Because how do you explain like something like musicality? I don't know. We'll see. Way to close the stream. Yeah. Yes, it is dying down a little. I will quickly skim the rest of the chat and see how things are. I have the tutorial voice. Not everyone can be pro ZD. That's true. Oh man. Yeah, typical sensei voice in anime. Yes, listen to me. Yes, what bad timing. It's okay, Adisai. What is music? Yes, do I go to the gym? Good question. I haven't been since COVID started and lockdown started, so I was actually thinking of starting again next week. I really miss my squats. So I only have the US, the Imperial units, because that's how we do things here in the States. So I was up to 215 pounds for reps, like 3x5 on my squat. And I was getting really close to 225. Like I could feel like I was working up, and it was kind of sad that COVID hit, and now I'm probably back down to like 95. So if somebody has kilos for that, you should throw that into the chat. But I kind of miss doing that and grinding for those weights. Bench is not my favorite lift. Squats are, but I suppose that's also because like my bench, it's not. I don't think my form is necessarily bad, but like I always feel like I'm a little bit like more jittery than I should be, or that my back isn't as tight as it needs to be. How to decide to start making YouTube content instead of just playing. I think I looked at any piano and I saw a need, right? Like I saw that, how do I say? It was, so the first thing that I made was the Watson and performance and analyzing my own playing. So that came from two places, right? One, I wanted people to understand where I'm coming from, because one of the things that I hate the most is being misunderstood, right? And even online to a certain extent. And that's something that I have to get over as a content creator with like mean comments and stuff like that. But I hate being misunderstood. And so I hate, and this is why also in my like reviews and stuff like that, I'll take a lot of time caveating what I'm saying, why I want to talk to the person, even if it's on chat in Discord, because I want to make sure that I'm not misrepresenting their ideas, right? I want to be able to hear the idea that you're going for and tell you how to execute that. If you miss the execution, that's one thing. If you don't have the idea, that's like a much more fundamental problem, right? And so I believe that most of my playing, if not all of my playing, has a lot of ideas, right? I'm pretty clear on what I want to execute on each section, everything that I play. But whether or not I actually execute is different, right? I'm not good enough to execute 100%. So I started doing the educational stuff because one, I wanted to make myself clear, right? That I like when I messed up here, it wasn't because I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing. It's because like I made a mistake while I was recording, right? But two, also because in any piano, everyone wants to be animens and everyone doesn't know how to get there, right? There's like no in between like self-taught and then like pro, as there is in like classical music. You get like lots of educational stuff like Jazerly, like piano, and Josh Wright, like, and living pianos that all range like the whole spectrum, and then like all these other like teachers in between, and you don't get any of that for any piano. And it's not that I make tutorials specifically on any piano, but I hope I have enough cred from playing some animens and like talking about anime that you would like to listen to me, because I'm able to tie everything to Your Lie in April. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so those were the two main reasons. Also, it seemed like a more viable way to grow this channel than just playing, because playing is you're fighting in a red ocean, right? As we would say, there's a lot of people who are trying to do the same thing, and so this is, I suppose, another content creator tip, advice, small business tip, advice sort of thing. If you're in a saturated space, you have two options, right? You either become the best, or your angle of doing that is so compelling that other people like watch your content or like buy your product or like buy from you or whatever, right? So that's the only two real ways that you can win in a red ocean. So it's far easier to find a blue ocean, right? Where there's very little competition, and you can set the bar there and you can set the standards, right? The problem with that, the difficulty with that, is being creative and innovative enough to find that blue ocean, because we're living in a day and age where everything is very, very saturated, right? But for me, right, given my availability of talents, right? So playing somewhat and explaining things and audio engineering, right? And some the equipment that I have, it was, and also the content I enjoy consuming, it was pretty clear that like one of the things that I could go into was education, right? And like reviewing videos, analyzing videos and stuff like that, and teaching people, because I genuinely want to see people get better at piano, if I can bring you to my level, then that's a win. And then you can go and make incredible music, because I believe that at my level, where I'm at, you have enough like information to at least, pay attention to, or at least form ideas and then like work towards creating those, executing those ideas. I would probably do a lot better with a teacher too, right? I'm not going to say that I know everything, right? I don't think I have quite the hubris for that. And it would be fascinating to talk to someone who like tours or is like a concert pianist and had, even those people like work with others to like have them listen to their music and work through things. So it would be very, very cool to do that. But at the very least, when you're around this level, you can hear things, you can have ideas, very compelling ideas, and you can execute on a lot of them. And it becomes a matter of like getting more new ideas and slowly improving. So come to me, come to my level, or get to my level, get on my level, Gommel. Yeah, all right. Let's keep going. All right, are we towards the, I'm towards the end. Empirical units, freedom units, let's go. 95 kilograms? Oh yeah. I can speak French? Nope. Wait, are these comments from me? What is music? This is very clear. Oh. Yeah, I don't speak French, I don't speak Japanese. Yes. Land of the free. Start with teacher, yes sir. Start with teacher, please. Everyone wants to be animens until they hit the octave jumps and unravel. Octave jumps for me aren't the worst things ever. In my unravel video, I had to push the tempo a little bit to get them like more messy. But it's sometimes they can become hit or miss in like performance in high pressure situations, which is fun. More finger exercise. You have a great time with piano, so feel free to join Watt's Discord server. Yeah, join my Discord server if you want like more advice. Contact me for lessons if you want more direct advice, and submit videos in my Discord server if you want me to review them. But honestly, in my server, there's a lot of people who are willing to answer questions, like Adisai and like others who are very high level as well, or like pretty high level. And should I use Halcyon and Fonzie to advertise my server? Nah, I won't. But they're my homies now, because we sit in my server sometimes and just chat. Yeah, everyone wants to be Animens until they realize how much thought he puts into every single note in his arrangements. Honestly, I feel like at Animens' level, so this is what's cool about getting good at anything, right? It's that it becomes very subconscious. I highly doubt that when Animens is playing, he like thinks about each and every single note and how he wants to phrase it, because it's so like innate within his playing that he just hears it that way and then he executes, right? Immediately. And so when he wants to break the mold, that's when he'll think more about it, right? But like there are some things that like it's pretty cool. For anyone, if you've mastered any craft, right? I'll go back to a lifting example, right? When I was in the midst of it, when I'm like setting up for a deadlift, yeah, I'll think about how I'm setting up for the deadlift, right? But once I get into position and I pull and I have my first cue, which is drive from the legs, I drive from the legs and then my hips hinge, right? And I lock out at the top. If I'm really struggling with a weight, then yeah, I'll have to think a little bit more about that. But like, for the most part, like when I was in the midst of it, because I've been doing it for a while, it's a very like greased groove, right? The groove is very much so greased and very fluid. And so you don't think that much about it. Same thing with music, same thing with art, right? it becomes a matter of, at a certain point, of no longer you can autopilot things and it will still be beautiful and good, but then sometimes you want to break that mold, and sometimes you want to try something new, or sometimes you want to even improve what the autopilot function does, right? Not that autopiloting is a bad thing, because it allows you to think about others. So perhaps, not that I know Animans personally or that I've talked to him about this, but it's like, you know, perhaps phrasing and stuff like that is something that's very autopilot for him now, and he spends a lot more time thinking when he's playing about how he's improving and how he's arranging the score, which would make sense, right, given how he arranges. So, yes. Anyways, what are we talking about now? Your line April tie-ins are definitely a plus. Gosh, I feel like I'm going to one now, and my family's gonna come out and be like, "Caleb, you gotta stop streaming." Never knowledgeable enough. That's the fun thing about art, right? There's no objective end, and there's always more ideas, and you always become the new greatest sum of your ideas, or the things that you're exposed to, which then means that you're constantly evolving, which is fascinating and fun. Yes, learn a bit of theory along the way. It helps in the long run. That is true. Learning a bit of theory has helped me understand music better, right? It's like understanding theory, I think, helps us understand what the composer is trying to say. And sometimes what the composer is trying to say, especially for classical music, I think in today's like day and age with the strong individualism, and again, no comment on whether that's I agree or disagree with that, right? But there's obviously detriments, right? But like with the strong individualism, we approach a piece of music and we say, I want to play it my way. This is exactly like this is going to be me 100%. But I also think that it's very fascinating to try to see what the composer is trying to say, right? And sometimes when we find a composer's voice within a piece of classical music, it can enhance our understanding of what we're trying to say, and it's like almost like bonding across like years, centuries, right? It was like what was Chopin or Beethoven feeling when he wrote this, or like why did he choose to do this? And you see some of the intellectual genius, and then you also see some of the emotions behind it, and that aids in the interpreting process, and that also creates a very interesting bond, like how music transcends time in a very interesting sort of way. But yeah, anyways, yes, I speak Cantonese. Yeah, so my server helps me speak Cantonese as well. I suppose we can make that a sub goal, Cantonese stream, or like a donation goal after we get the doppelganger back. It's extremely hard to grow in channels similar to Animens. Yeah, so this is the same thing that I was talking about, right? Like Blue Ocean, Red Ocean. Animens when Animens started, he was in a Blue Ocean, right? He was the only person doing that. But now it's become a Red Ocean. Like literally, I think you scroll through my chat and you find like 10, 15 people who are all putting out anime piano videos. Not that that's a bad thing, right? But it's like if you are looking to grow a channel, right, then that's probably not the smartest thing to do. For me personally, I as I've said before on this channel, I'm a person first, musician second, teacher third, right? Then a content creator, and then a brand, right? And those all are in order of importance. I refuse to sacrifice myself as a person and refuse to sacrifice myself as a musician for the sake of growing this channel, right, as a brand. And so how does that play out? Well, one, I hope that you get that I'm honest about how I play, honest about what I see from other people, yada yada. But two, I'm also very like, how do I say? I still put out what I play, right? And I still want to put out what I play because that's the primary goal of this channel. All the other things are in a sense, yes, are important, and I enjoy doing them, like all the review videos, but in a sense they're also more, how do I say, marketable by the algorithm, and so it gets my playing in front of more people, right? If you enjoy watching my analysis of Animens' Unravel, perhaps you will go then click on my ballad or like something else, and I get to at least engage with more people that way. So that's another reason why I started doing educational content, because it's more marketable and it gets my playing in front of more people. And if you really enjoy my playing, then it gets my playing in front of the right people, right? Because otherwise the algorithm wouldn't put that in front of you, right? So when do I think it's appropriate to use unicorda? When you want a textural change and a pianissimo. So I think I use unicorda more so for texture. Nowadays I use it a lot more for pianissimos as well, but before I would only use it for texture. And so I think it's a little bit of both, right? So use unicorda when you want, like, so if you watch my Evangelion practice video, I use unicorda in a place where it's like mezzo piano, right? Dum ba da bum ba da bum ba, but it's because I wanted a smoother texture while maintaining the articulation. And sometimes for a really soft pianissimo, if you want to create that extra layer, then you want to use unicorda for that as well. I definitely didn't mention Fonzie and Halcyon at all. Yeah, who are those? Y'all are my homies. Love you guys. couple of my animes, how much technique was involved, like rotating your wrist slightly or switching to flat fingers for a section. Yeah, there's a lot of technique involved. So obviously, again, the order of priorities are what do I want to accomplish as a pianist, then what is musicality, and then what are the techniques to achieve musicality, right? And so we hear a lot of musicality, or we just understand that what Animus is doing is great. We don't understand what's going on behind the scenes, right? And so hopefully I can elucidate some of that for you. Am I speaking English? I started weightlifting and no theorist. My bad. I love weightlifting is something that I miss a lot. And with COVID, you know, and also having a lot more work to do with the YouTube channel, I haven't been able to get back. But hopefully next week, once I'm done practicing for this recital on Saturday. One day mess up on staying in order of priorities. When I do, somebody's gonna clip that and I'm gonna get like shamed for the rest of my life, which isn't a good thing. So I hope I never mess it up. Literally watch my performances because of how good my analysis videos are. Yeah, so Roger, my analysis videos, I suppose, did the trick. Hopefully, when you watch my performances, you didn't think, oh wow, this guy's a fraud. But you know, that's like, that's the level of thought that I put into things, if not more, right? And hopefully that's hopefully there's a communication between me and you as well, right? The more you understand my voice as a person, right, the more you understand my voice as a musician as well. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, we should I feel like one of the key to growing on YouTube as an any pianist, put out content that you alone will be able to do. Yeah, so again, your unique selling prospect is yourself, right? Be unique to yourself. Of course, you want to look up the best practices for growing on YouTube and be smart with the algorithm if you want to grow, right? Again, this is under the assumption that you want to grow. If you're doing this as a hobby and you don't care about growing, then do whatever you want, right? Like nobody's stopping you from doing that. But if you want to grow, you need to understand at least a little bit of how things are working, what works, what doesn't work. But then, of course, don't sacrifice yourself for doing that, right? People these days are drawn to authenticity, I believe. In The Go-Giver, right, I mentioned this book before, a lot of authenticity is a part of it, right? And again, if you fake yourself for a bit, right, and you gain traction because of that, that's short-lived. You will burn out by having to always put on a persona, or your audience will realize that you're faking something, right? And then that's not great for either of you, right? This is built on a relationship of trust to some extent, even if you don't know me as personally, or you know me more personally than I know you, right? But there's still a trust relationship going on here. So, you know, I take authenticity very, very seriously here on this channel. You see me very excited and very energetic for most of my videos and most of my streams because I am talking about my favorite subjects, right? Some of my favorite subjects to talk about. Of course I'd be excited, so I'm not faking this at all. Yeah, but anyways, we should wrap up soon. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Do you have any jobs besides YouTube? Nope, this summer is dedicated towards YouTube and seeing where that goes, and teaching. So if you need a teacher, contact me. But anyways, I suppose that's all the questions, and that's all the chat that I'm reading for today. Because I'm getting a little bit tired. Not really. It's like early afternoon. It's like 1 for me. So, but I have other things to do. And people are starting to dip a little bit too. So I suppose thank you everybody for stopping by and for asking questions and for enjoying, if you enjoy coffee or tea with me or any other beverage, then thank you for doing that as well. Thank you for sticking through the stream, and thank you so much everybody for 10K subs, because this is a massive milestone that I did not expect to reach so quickly, quite honestly. And if you would like to hear me play again, I'm playing this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I know that's an inconvenient time for a lot of you, so feel free to watch the VOD, but like, it'll be very nice to play for all of you, and I would enjoy that very much. And yeah, what else did I want to say? Oh, feel free to consider subscribing on Patreon, you know, YouTube memberships, all the fun pizzazz, right, and super chatting and stuff like that. If you want the doppelganger to come back and do a whole stream, then you should do that. But yeah, anyways, until next time, everybody. Oh, is this the end? This is the end. I'll see you on Saturday. Peace.